What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
8RH 186. Monster. Shock the audience. Seek full order. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. They completely gave up on the interception of many prisoners, and began to run frantically in the impel down. Monster. This guy is definitely a monster. I don't want to fight such a monster, I want to get out of here. Let me go, I don't want to be a Marine anymore. On weekdays, in front of many prisoners, many jailers who were showing off their might completely collapsed. The scene was a mess. The huge wave formed by the three-color Buddha's wrath lotus began to continuously spread towards the surroundings, and the entire impel down began to shake violently. But at this time, Magellan's body fell directly into the depths of the impel down, and cracks appeared on the entire surface of the body. Under the attachment of a large number of cracks, a large amount of blood appeared on the surface of Magellan's body, and the whole person completely turned into a porcelain doll that might collapse at any time. Under such circumstances, Magellan could clearly perceive that the vitality inside his body was rapidly draining. At this moment, Luo Qiye stood quietly on the deck, accompanied by everyone from the Heping fan team. Luo Qiye 24's expression was incomparably indifferent, and he didn't care about all of this at all. But at this time, many Marines around were already completely at a loss, and everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates was also completely stunned. They didn't expect that Magellan, who was bursting out with all his might, was still not worth mentioning in front of Luo Qiye. If Magellan failed directly the first time, it was because he did not estimate Luo Qiye's strength well. So this time, Magellan's failure is equivalent to her overall state being completely worthless in front of Luo Qiye. Thousand sunny decks, Usopp said excitedly, how did the three-color lotus flower just now form? Is this also Luo Qiye's special ability? Isn't this ability too strong? What kind of devil fruit ability is this? Advertisement. Usopp had already made a thorough judgment in his mind that the ability possessed by Luo Qiye must have been brought by devil fruit. Across the entire sea, many people had such speculations. But unfortunately, they will never be able to figure out what is going on with all this. At this moment, Nami was completely stunned, holding Thousand Sunny's rudder tightly in his hand, his eyes were full of dull expressions. As the ship's doctor, Chopper tightly held the medicine box in his hand, his chest heaved and fell, his eyes were round, and his face was full of bewilderment. At this time, Luffy's mental head eased a little, and he stared at the scene in front of him dumbfounded, as if his entire worldview had been violently impacted in his brain. At this moment, Hancock was staring at Luo Qiye closely, both of them were staring at the front, his eyes were full of love, and he rushed towards him uncontrollably. However, after taking 2 steps, Hancock came back to his senses and said in his heart, "No, my lord is fighting, how can I influence my lord?" With this in mind, Hancock suppressed the desire in his heart abruptly, and overcame it with difficulty. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you have successfully pretended to be aggressive, and you have obtained 39,999 pretending points. Close black lens bracket. I didn't expect the pretentious point this time to drop again. This Magellan is indeed much worse than Luffy and others. Luo Qiye shook his head slightly, the last trace of interest in impel down completely disappeared. Luo Qiye waved his hand slightly, and said, let's go. If we continue to stay, it is impossible for us to have any fun here. For Luo Qiye, the greatest pleasure is to keep fighting, and the greatest joy is to keep making friends with more powerful people. With the support of the warden, Magellan was completely finished, so the others would naturally not let Luo Qiye bring any interest. Even in the entire prison, there must be more powerful people. However, these people have been in a state of captivity for a long time, and their physical condition must not be perfect. Even these people couldn't attract Luo Qiye's attention in their heyday, let alone them in their weak period. Advertisement. With that said, the members of the Nuclear Ping fan team were about to turn around and leave. At this time, Luffy came to Luo Qiye's side, and hurriedly said, Luo Qiye, we still need to do something inside the impel down, but there must be many dangers hidden inside the impel down. So if I can I just keep Nami and Robin on the nuclear team? However, Luffy had already made a corresponding decision, and said with a serious expression, as the captain, I order that you two stay here and wait for the nuclear war team. In this battle, the role you can play is limited. 237 as long as you can survive safely, it will be the greatest help to us. Then, after completing the corresponding arrangements, a look of madness flashed in Luffy's eyes, and he led everyone to attack the inside. I will pick them up after the matter of impel down is completely dealt with. And the orders issued by Luffy as the captain must not be questioned by anyone. Robin on the side also said firmly, that's right, Luffy, we should be together more at this time. As soon as the words fell, Nami's face changed suddenly, and he said directly, are you kidding? Luffy, aren't we partners? How can we escape at this time? No matter how they fight around on weekdays, the captain's body is at the forefront when encountering major events. The two of them stayed in the Nuclear Ping fan team. Although they would not play any role, they could make Luo Qiye more seductive. Luo Qiye naturally didn't care about all this. At this time, many Marines have already completely collapsed, and the defense line of impel down is basically non-existent. Only with the full cooperation of everyone in our Straw Hat Pirates can we complete this mission thoroughly. A tangled look flashed across Nami's face, but she was directly grabbed by Robin. Otherwise, once the captain's order cannot be implemented, the situation on the battlefield will change rapidly, and everyone may be threatened fatally. Luffy uses the third gear state to directly open the gear, and the blood flow in the body accelerates. Anyway, Nami and Robin are two hot and beautiful women. The captain is the absolute spiritual banner of everyone, and his orders must never be refuted. Otherwise, the entire Straw Hat Pirates may fall apart at any time. Advertisement. 187. Spread the world. Brand new bounty. Seek full order. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Looking from a distance, at this moment Luffy seems to have completely turned into a real steam engine, and a large amount of red blood turns into a steam shape and spreads towards the outside world. At this time, Usopp is holding a huge slingshot in his hand, and is constantly firing towards the surroundings. Boom, boom. The sound of violent roar continued to sound. At this moment, Usopp directly took out the ammunition he had at the bottom of the box, and leaned wildly to clear the way for everyone. When encountering debris along the way, Frankie will use his own steam power system to start attacking the wreckage, smashing a large number of wreckage directly in a short time. At this time, Sanji and Zoro also accompanied the two sides, constantly defeating the many marines attacking from the left and right sides. After all, the marines at the scene had completely collapsed, and they kept running around like a headless chicken. To be on the safe side, all those who tried to get close to the Straw Hat Pirates were killed by them directly. The members of the Straw Hat Pirates headed toward the depths of the propelling ship firmly. On the deck, Luo Qiye looked at the people going away, waved his hands slightly, and showed a faint smile on his face. It's really some immune to death Xiaoqiang. To be able to reunite in such a short period of time, the future of these guys is indeed worth looking forward to. In a short period of time, the Straw Hat Pirates were defeated by Magellan twice. Before that, they were directly crushed ruthlessly by Luo Qiye during the positive conversation. According to the state of normal people, at this moment, these people must still be immersed in the atmosphere of defeat. However, these guys in the Straw Hat Pirates are really different, and they seem to be still unaffected at the moment, and they are still fighting high. Even Chopper, who is the ship's doctor, was very excited. It has to be said that Luffy's title of Child of Luck is completely solid. If it wasn't for Luffy's luck, how could the group of partners around him be so tenacious? The forest is big, and there are all kinds of birds, even the Four Emperors pirate group, there may be scum. Not to mention the rest of the pirates, however, the Straw Hat Pirates have completely ruled out this happening. Advertisement. The nuclear Ping Fan team continued to set off, with the same goal of naval headquarters, but the speed of advancement was extremely slow. Because the time for the execution of Ace announced by naval headquarters is still very early. They can sail leisurely above the sea. Luo Qiye lay on the deck all day long, enjoying the personal service of Empress Hancock. During this period of time, Hancock's cooking skills also began to grow rapidly, but the amount of ingredients consumed became larger and larger. Therefore, everyone in the Nine Snake Pirates was forced to attack and plunder all the caravans they encountered. On the deck, Nami and Robin looked at all this in astonishment. Nami couldn't help but shook his head and said, I didn't expect the majestic Luo Qiye to be like this in private. I didn't think that the powerful Luo Qiye was definitely not accessible to anyone on weekdays. However, everything that appeared in front of him completely changed his inherent cognition. Robin on the side couldn't help laughing, and said, this kind of Luo Qiye will make everyone feel more down to earth. At the same time, the story of Impel Down was thoroughly reported throughout Naval Headquarters. Naval Headquarters top meeting room, Sengoku and Marine 3 Admiral gathered together. Holding the latest information in his hand, Sengoku's face was full of shock. What? How is this possible? What the hell is Luo Qiye thinking? How could he suddenly attack Impel Down? What the hell is this guy trying to do? On the other hand, Akainu, who had a more fiery personality, was completely furious. Strands of red silk threads had already begun to appear on the surface of his body, and the temperature in the entire office began to rise violently. Seeing this, Aokiji waved his hand slightly, and ice crystals were directly attached to the ground, and the temperature in the office began to drop. What the hell is this guy thinking? How dare he do anything to Impel Down? Could it be that Luo Qiye is so impatient to seek death? Advertisement. Impel Down has been completely reduced to ruins by him, what should the prisoners in it do? The crime committed by Luo Qiye this time is absolutely impossible to be forgiven. I must kill him with my own hands, and use his life to wash away the shame our marine has suffered. As he said that, Akainu wanted to turn around and leave directly, and the anger and murderous intent in his heart could not be suppressed for a moment. Sengoku frowned slightly, and said, Akainu, don't worry. The Whitebeard pirates are our main target this time. Quote. Ace's execution is about to begin, and our priority is to guard against the coming Whitebeard pirates, not this Luo Qiye. Akainu on the side said angrily, my lord, but we can't completely ignore the matter of Impel Down. After a little hesitation, Sengoku said, let Garp do this. If this is really the case, then Impel Down will probably become a complete joke on top of the sea. When hearing this, Kizaru and Aokiji on the side also had similar thoughts, and couldn't help but turn their eyes to Sengoku on the side. Soon, the many pirates who got the reward order fell into a complete silence. After hearing Sengoku's words, the pledge suppressed the anger in his heart reluctantly and stood where he was. But so far, the final outcome is still unknown. Therefore, Taking advantage of the upcoming war, in order to avoid Garp's corresponding changes on the battlefield, Sengoku decided to directly transfer Garp away. In this way, the atmosphere in the conference room finally began to stabilize. In the face of this matter, everything can be compromised. Although we have mobilized all the forces we can mobilize to encircle and suppress the Whitebeard pirates. The relationship between marine heroes Garp and Ace has long been known to Sengoku. Sengoku continued. At the same time, order the marine staff to reassess the danger of this guy. At the same time, a large number of news birds began to fly to all parts of the world, and one after another, freshly released reward orders were scattered all over the world. The current situation is already very dangerous, and we don't know much about the true background of the Whitebeard pirates. Advertisement. 188. 3 billion rewards. The 4 emperors were collectively shocked. 6th update. Ask for full order. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. On the reward order, Luo Qiye's name was clearly written. The most striking thing is the bounty on top of the bounty order. Luo Qiye, offer a bounty of 3 billion Baileys. Boom. The amount above the reward order completely detonated the whole world. After receiving the reward order, many pirates were completely boiling. Many pirates began to howl crazily. If I remember correctly, the last time Luo Qiye's bounty has reached more than 2 billion, right? I didn't expect that this time, his bounty was increased again, reaching 3 billion directly. I just want to know how long it will take for Luo Qiye to completely break through the 3 billion threshold. This guy is so crazy, he actually got impelled down. The many pirates are very clear that many of the pirates who are strong but do not have a reliable team are all directly captured by the marine in the impel down, where they will be permanently imprisoned. After any pirate is imprisoned in impel down, it is equivalent to completely withdrawing from this era of pirates. However, this time, Luo Qiye, instead of all the marines, went to impel down himself, and basically completely leveled the entire impel down. After all, even impel down's perimeter defenses and gates have completely collapsed, plus the completely collapsed city walls of 010, and the defeated Magellan. Basically no one can lift it up. The Whitebeard pirates on their way to their destination, on the deck of the Moby DK. Whitebeard took a deep breath, a look of emotion on his face. I really didn't expect it. That guy Shanks actually has such a strong guy in his hands. The bounty for this Luo Qiye has reached 3 billion Baileys, and I am afraid that no one can ignore its existence again. Marco the Phoenix said with a very solemn expression. He even directly attacked Impel Down. In a sense, he should have already helped us. The crisis of Impel Down can naturally be alleviated to some extent, and the difficulty of the upcoming encirclement and suppression campaign of the Whitebeard pirates. Advertisement. Marco also nodded heavily. That's right, Luo Qiye did a good job. If there is a chance, I would like to have a good discussion with him. Many cadres of the Whitebeard pirates fully recognized Luo Qiye because of this action, and they are looking forward to the next meeting with Luo Qiye and others in their hearts. Among the Beasts pirates fleet, the face of Kaido of the Beasts became very ugly. The damned guy, why isn't he dead yet? I didn't expect him to do something against Impel Down, and this time his bounty was involved again. We have to get rid of him as soon as possible. I don't want to see this annoying brat keep appearing in sight again. But at this time, Kaido of the Beasts was very embarrassed to find that there were not many people in their Beasts pirates who could directly cooperate with Luo Qiye to confront head-on. In terms of high-end combat power, the 3 major Kanban are all reimbursed. Moreover, Luo Qiye was the one who could directly make Magellan regress, and was able to come in and out at will among the encirclement of many marines. Do you really want me to do it myself? Kaido's eyes flickered continuously, because the thoughts in his head were also running rapidly. On the other side of the Queen's anthem, Charlotte Linlin looked at the bounty in front of her, and her eyes were bloodshot immediately. A guy who only knows how to jump up and down all day, I'm afraid he can only increase his bounty in this way. Luo Qiye, don't let me touch you again, or I will tear your body to pieces myself. A grandstanding brat, and the rest of the surviving cadres of the Charlotte family stood there tremblingly, not daring to touch Lot Linlin's brow at all. Since the previous Katakuri died directly at the hands of Charlotte Linlin, CECJ, Charlotte Linlin has been completely insane. The frequency of Charlotte Linlin's cravings has also become much faster than before. In the past, Katakuri could often persuade directly at this time. Advertisement. But now, even Charlotte Perospero, who is the chief butler, can only step aside, without any thought of doing anything. The other cadres of the Charlotte family were even more afraid to intervene easily. Red hair pirates. Redhead Shank's hearty laugh echoed throughout the team. But at this moment, Blackbeard took the drug Q who was dying, followed the so-called fate of the drug Q, avoided many marines who were patrolling, and directly entered the interior of Impel Down impatiently. The outer defense line has basically completely collapsed, and the impact of this incident on the sea is far more far-reaching than Luo Qiye imagined. It is precisely because of the existence of Impel Down that many pirates are very afraid of marines' encirclement and suppression. The Hepping fan team had given them enough surprises last time, but they didn't expect to bring an even bigger surprise this time. We all underestimated this guy. But this time, what Luo Qiye did was tantamount to slapping Marine hard on the face. And as a member of the Red Hair Pirates, they alone can enjoy this benefit. The other cadres of the Red Hair Pirates were also stunned. In the minds of almost all pirates, the name of Luo Qiye is deeply imprinted on them. After all, before this, it seems that no one has been able to do all this. If Marine wants to completely restore the proper function of Impel Down, it will take an astronomical amount of time, manpower and material resources. Luo Qiye directly leveled Impel Down with the nuclear team, which in a sense also brought countless potential benefits to Red Hair pirates. After all, Impel Down has a special symbolic meaning. There are too many potential pirates on the sea that are directly damaged, and they will be lost before Impel is down. For many pirates, Impel Down is simply a hell. Once they step into it, it is impossible to survive again. I thought he should have been repairing after the last battle, but I didn't expect them to go to Impel Down again. Impel Down, known as the Iron Wall, was completely destroyed by the nuclear leveling team led by Luo Qiye. Deputy Captain Ben Beckman held a rifle in his hand, his eyes were full of complex expressions, opened the mouth and said, I really want to know how far this 07 Knight can lead his nuclear war team to go. Advertisement. 189. Upside down. Help from Nami and Robin. First update. Ask for full order. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. There was a bright light in Blackbeard's eyes. Looking at the densely packed cells on the 6th floor of Impel Down, he couldn't help but started to laugh. Poison Q, your prediction this time is very correct. It seems that fate is indeed on our side. Even if we lost the battle just now, so what? There will be more newcomers joining our Blackbeard pirates soon. Blackbeard Teach didn't hide his thoughts at all. Standing at the gate of the 6th floor, he started laughing crazily. At this time, Poison Q wiped the fine sweat on his forehead, and said, the life and death catastrophe belonging to our Blackbeard pirates has finally passed. Badgers and their deaths are meaningful, and their deaths will allow the Blackbeard pirates to embark on a greater journey. With that said, Blackbeard Teach took the lead and walked directly into the 6th floor of Impel Down to carry out a new round of solicitation activities. You must know that any prisoner who can be held on the 6th floor of Impel Down has corresponding value. And if the crimes they committed above the sea have not reached the corresponding level, they are not eligible to enter the 6th floor at all. It can be said that if you don't care about character, then many prisoners on the 6th floor can definitely be called the high-end combat power of the major pirate groups in terms of strength. At the same time, Luffy, Zoro and others also came to the 6th floor. Looking at the huge prison cells one after another in front of him, Luffy let out a heavy breath, and then said, okay, everyone, let's follow our plan from now on. Let's turn this Impel Down upside down. Then, many members of the Straw Hat Pirates present quickly started to act. For the peace team, Luo Qiye was still lying on the deck chair, and beside him, there was a small round table. This white round table looks very delicate. Seemingly noticing Luo Qiye's gaze, Hancock said shyly, my lord, this small round table was cut by myself. In the next period of time, this small round table will become the exclusive property of the concubine and the adults. My lord, the two of us can do many things on this small round table. Advertisement. When he said this, Hancock couldn't help but licked his lips, the tenderness on his face couldn't be suppressed at all. Luo Qiye wore sunglasses on his face, but he knew in his heart that he couldn't bear it. Hancock is unique both in body and face, and in this alone situation, he can always bring the ultimate temptation to Luo Qiye. Luo Qiye can only use willpower to forcibly suppress the desire deep in his heart every time. Fujitora and Momosugi have been practicing on the deck all the time, and they can be regarded as corresponding swordsmen to each other. Therefore, during the battle, they can always give each other just the right amount of pressure. Of course, if compared in terms of hard power, Kuohu's strength is naturally stronger. And everyone in the 9 Snake Pirates also gained an unprecedented sense of satisfaction during this time. Everyone in the peace team went out to sea with them, so no matter which pirate they encountered, they would attack without any restraint. Even if they lost to everyone face to face, the members of the Hepping Fan squad would attack directly and wipe out the opponent with ease. During this time, Edward Wable has completely released himself, sitting on the deck all day, and began to enjoy the food crazily. A team of chefs from the 9 Snake Pirates cooked food for this guy. But what surprised everyone was that although Edward Wable devoured food crazily, his body shape did not change at all. It seems that after the fat enters his body, it will completely transform into corresponding muscles. His body shape has always been fixed to a certain stage, and he looks a little fat, but once he fights, all the fat will turn into muscles in an instant. Looking at the beautiful scenery in the distance, Luo Qiye forcibly focused his attention on the sea. In the rear cabin, came the voice of a word. After Luo Qiye's observation Haki shrouded in the past, he quickly learned everything that happened in it. It turned out that after discussions among the people in the cabin, they directly came to the position of the railing and started a collective competition. These guys race against the Sea Kings, asking for flowers. Advertisement. They kept provoking some Sea Kings, and then, when these Sea Kings were about to attack them, they directly rushed out. The last one to deliver the fatal blow to the Sea Kings is the real winner. Nami took a deep breath and said, we can't wait any longer. Then, Nami directly pulled Robin to Luo Qiye, and directly talked about the worries of the two of them. No matter how powerful Sea Kings, has no meaning to him. Luffy and the others can't compare with the many Marines in Impel Down in terms of hard power. At this time, Nami and Robin got together, looking worriedly at the direction of Impel Down. I have to say that this bet is just right. After thinking of this, Nami said directly, it doesn't matter, let's go find Luo Qiye, he is so strong, these things should be just small things for him. Although Magellan has been seriously injured, the strength of many defenders in Impel Down is basically complete. We had to get to the scene as quickly as possible to help them. And the stakes among these guys are wine and cigarettes. 0. Master Luo Qiye, if possible, we ask you one thing, can you send us to Impel Down again? If you can help, that would be great. She understands very well that on the vast sea, if the two of them lose the protection of the peace team and fall into the hands of other pirates, they will definitely not be able to please. Luo Bin on the side was also full of approval, and said directly, you are right, it is impossible to successfully reach Impel Down with our current strength alone. Luo Qiye has shown great strength, if he quits rashly, I am afraid that the game among the 9 snake pirates will be completely over. Robin will undoubtedly appear more rational. Nami and Luo are not crew members known for their combat effectiveness. They are navigators and historians in the pirates. Luo Qiye watched the lively scene, shook his head slightly, and did not directly participate in it. Advertisement. 190. Robin and Nami. Just ask the adults to help, whatever the adults want us to do. Advertisement. We're all friends after all, aren't we? Moreover, there are a lot of resources accumulated in Impel Down. If you directly break through Impel Down, the corresponding income must be indispensable. And Magellan in Impel Down is not your opponent. As long as you return to Impel Down again, there should be absolutely no one among those guys who would dare to stop you. Nami used her sharp tongue as much as possible, trying to convince Luo Qiye thoroughly. Luo Qiye's expression was still very calm, enjoying the fruit plate served by Hancock himself. At this moment, Nami is wearing a yellow dress, and under the blowing of the sea breeze, she looks quite special. Robin standing next to Nami is also outstanding in appearance, and he can definitely be regarded as one of the top ranks in the sea in terms of appearance. I have to say, 980, the staffing of the Straw Hat Pirates is very reasonable. Without the slightest hesitation, Luo Qiye directly shook his head slightly and said, I didn't directly intend to send you to Impel Down, but it's just because we need to go through Impel Down to our destination. And now, I've sent Luffy and the others there, how can I turn around and go back again? As for the rescue and the like, you don't need to talk about it, we just met by chance. When he said this, Luo Qiye stood up directly, and then looked at the two people in front of him with interest. I don't have any relationship with you Straw Hat Pirates, just a chance encounter, and you are not my subordinates. Why should I care about your life? Upon hearing this, Nami's eyes flashed a look of astonishment. She never expected that Luo Qiye would reject all her requests so ruthlessly, not even bothering to find an excuse. For Luo Qiye, the Straw Hat Pirates are not so important after being robbed of the corresponding pretense points. During the Impel Down, even the more attractive Magellan's pretentious points have been almost plundered. Where did Luo Qiye get the interest to return to Impel Down again? Advertisement. At this time, the situation of Nami and Robin became very awkward. After all, the current nuclear Ping Fan team directly took the two of them on the voyage because of Luffy's plea and the supremacy of face. In a sense, Robin and Nami have no place to speak of in the nuclear team's queue. After their hastily proposed ideas were completely rejected by Luo Qiye, everyone on the boat looked at the two in front of them with strange eyes. Many pirates have even started whispering around. These two guys are daydreaming, they don't want to pay anything, they just want adults to help them. Does the Straw Hat Pirates have any meaning to us? After all, the 3 strongest members of the Straw Hat Pirates have already been defeated by the adults. How can the adults look down on them? I'm afraid those people are not qualified to directly become the subordinates of the adults. At this time, Luo Qiye hesitated a little and said, how about it? Actually, I'm not an overly unfeeling person. If you really want to rescue them, Luffy, I can directly give you a small boat. Luo Qiye said calmly. This small boat is specially made, so it is commendable in terms of defense and speed. Now you are driving the boat directly back to Impel Down, maybe you can catch up with Luffy and the others. As long as you two meet again, everything will be solved. When they heard this, Nami and Robin were all stunned. Then, a look of embarrassment appeared directly on Nami's face. Nami's face became flushed, full of annoyed look. After all, the strength of the two of them is there, no matter what kind of ships are given to them, it is meaningless. The two of them are going to die now when they are on the road. Even if Nami and the others can directly pass the test on the road and reach Impel Down directly, waiting for their end, it is still very miserable. However, just being directly rejected by Luo Qiye, Nami didn't have the courage to continue to make the corresponding request. But Nami didn't know what to do, so he could only stand there and sulk. Advertisement. The whole person looks aggrieved, coupled with Nami's own strength. In Luo Qiye's opinion, this look is actually quite funny. But at this time, Robin, who was standing aside, suddenly remembered the various things that Luffy and others had experienced in the judicial process in order to rescue her. The Straw Hat Pirates storming into Eni's lobby is already incredible. And everything they have experienced in the capital of 7 Waters. In short, everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates has already regarded Robin as a true partner. Even Luffy and others can risk their lives to save her. When thinking of this, Robin no longer hesitated, and said firmly, My lord, if you can rescue Luffy and the others, I can promise all your requests. When he said this, Robin couldn't help but a blush appeared on his face, and then continued, No matter what the adults want from me, I can give it to you directly. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's what I have. As soon as this statement came out, everyone present was stunned. Even the 2 Fujitora who were in the battle state stopped directly, and looked at Robin who said this with disbelief. The rest of the pirates on the side were even more so, with sad expressions on their faces. In all fairness, Robin is now wearing a purple tights, revealing his curvy figure. 5.0. Plus Robin herself is an amazing beauty, and her various previous experiences. It all adds up to a dangerous thorny, rose-like aura that Robin exudes at all times. For many men on board, Robin has a fatal attraction. However, because Luo Qiye is here, others dare not have any thoughts about this kind of beauty. After all, who knows why Luo Qiye would suddenly accept Nami and Robin, two beauties, to stay on board. If you want to say that Luo Qiye did all this just because of Luffy's request, the rest of the nuclear team and even the rest of the pirates on the ship will probably laugh out loud. Luo Qiye's previous achievements have already shown that he doesn't care about anyone's opinion at all, and he does things as he pleases. Advertisement. 191. Willing to sacrifice. Empress. Just relying on the two of you, let's develop for another 2 years. Advertisement. Needless to say, it was a mere Straw Hat Pirates, even the 4 Emperor's pirates couldn't easily change Luo Qiye's mind. Luo Qiye looked at the bumpy Robin in front of him, with a playful look on his face. You are indeed an outstanding woman. It's a pity that I don't lack bed-warming girls by my side. So your proposal doesn't appeal to me at all. Luo Qiye shook his head calmly, without any emotion in his eyes. Hearing this, Luo Yi's heart skipped a beat. She didn't expect that as a woman, she was willing to give her most precious thing, but she still couldn't impress Luo Qiye in front of her. You know, in order to protect himself, Robin has been going back and forth with many strong people for so many years. Robin bears the title of the Devil's Son, coupled with his outstanding appearance, he has attracted the covetousness of many men. If it weren't for Robin's superior IQ, he might have already fallen into the quagmire and couldn't extricate himself. 24 Robin's heart was trembling. She suddenly realized that if she wanted to fight directly to Luo Qiye to rescue the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates, it might be hopeless. Thinking of the partner who was willing to sacrifice his life for her, who was about to be completely annihilated, Robin was so heartbroken that he couldn't breathe. And at this time, Nami on the side also realized this, the expression on his face became very ugly, and the tears in his eyes began to be unable to be suppressed. Seeing the completely red eyes of the two women in front of him, Luo Qiye showed a speechless look on his face. At this moment, the scene of the three of Luffy rushing to the battlefield and being directly defeated by Magellan rang out in the minds of Robin and Nami. The two women woke up with a start. The three of Luffy cannot be Magellan's opponents at all, and this has already been confirmed. Luffy and the others are definitely close to death. The two of them, as partners of the Straw Hat Pirates, must make corresponding sacrifices at this time. Robin figured out the key to this immediately, and a determined look flashed in his eyes. Advertisement. After Nami noticed this scene, he quickly made up his mind. Robin took a deep breath, adjusted his inner emotions, and then said directly, Luo Qiye, what if the two of us are willing to be your concubines? As long as you promise to rescue Luffy and the others, the two of us are willing to stay by your side forever and meet all your requirements at any time. Nami said with the same look of firmness. That's right, as long as you are willing to help our partner, we are willing to give everything, including our bodies, including our absolute loyalty. After saying this, Nami and the two closed their eyes directly, because they were afraid that the pain and emaciation in their eyes would be directly noticed by everyone. Along the way, the two of them already knew that many people above the sea were coveting their beauty. Many men showed extremely disgusting eyes to them more than once. The two of them had no problems under the shelter of the Straw Hat Pirates. The two of them now need to take the initiative to walk towards this quagmire. Fortunately, the person they chose to cling to was Luo Qiye. When thinking of this, Nami and Robin felt much better at the same time. After all, Luo Qiye has already proven his own strength and talent in combat. Above the sea, for hundreds of years, there is probably no one who can achieve the achievements that Luo Qiye has today. Luo Qiye was a little dazed when he heard this, and then subconsciously began to look at the figures of the two women in front of him. Nami and Robin, one is wearing a yellow dress and the other is wearing a purple tights. The two completely different styles are inadvertently shown the explosion and hotness of their native bodies. From the appearance point of view, Nami looks more soft and beautiful, but there is a bit more wildness in this soft beauty, which can make people immediately increase their desire to conquer. And Robin on the side is even more special, the purple tights give Robin a fatal attraction. And maybe because Robin used to do assassination work with Crocodile Studio, there is always a hint of danger flashing through Robin now. This combination of danger and beauty makes Robin itself more attractive. Advertisement. Even Luo Qiye said at this moment, I couldn't help but start to hesitate. And at this time, Empress Hancock, who was quietly serving Luo Qiye at the side, couldn't bear the design anymore. Even no matter from which point of view, it is slightly stronger than the two of them. You two women actually directly want to become the adult's concubine. Isn't such a request too much? But at this time, after listening to Hancock's long speech, Nami and Robin suddenly felt that their request seemed really too much. Of course, from Luo Qiye's point of view, each of these three women has its own unique characteristics. Hancock is definitely not weaker than the two of them in terms of figure and appearance or status and strength. The faces of Nami and Nami changed greatly. They thought that Hancock was deliberately humiliating them. You guys are simply fantasizing, you two guys actually want to be the adult's concubine, don't you think your request is too much? Nami and Robin had such an idea in their hearts for the first time, and they didn't even think it was absurd. Also as a woman, even if the two of them don't want to admit it, Hancock is indeed superior to them in every way. Hancock stood up directly, looked at the two women in front of him with a haughty expression, and deliberately puffed out his chest. However, before they opened their mouths to refute, Hancock continued to speak proudly. As one of the Shichibukai, as the Empress of the Lily Kingdom, now, I am still willing to serve the adults, and I have no luxury to become a concubine of 150 people. You guys are too much. They suddenly felt that what Hancock said seemed very reasonable. What do you two women want? Luo Qiye has always firmly believed that every woman is unique in this world and has her own advantages. Is our request really too much? You two women, do you want to take your place? When they heard this, everyone on the entire ship was stunned. Advertisement. 192. Marine Hero Garp. Too arrogant. The first update asks for a full order. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Hancock looked at the two girls whose faces had changed drastically, and said firmly, you two listen to me, your request is very rude, I hope you will stop saying such rude things. Quote. After speaking, Hancock turned his head proudly, and continued to serve Luo Qiye willingly. Hancock's two Bai Yukong fingers directly picked up the purple grape, gently placed it next to Luo Qiye, and said softly, my lord, let's eat another grape. Luo Qiye enjoyed Hancock's service indifferently. Naturally, Luo Qiye would not easily turn the bow and return to impel down again. Even if Nami and Robin expressed their willingness to do anything, all this is completely meaningless to Luo Qiye. Not to mention the current 10-year-old Luo Qiye's body, the most important thing is that if Luo Qiye really wants the two of them to be bed warmers, even if they refuse, then what's the matter? Question mark. Looking at the two devastated women in front of him, Luo Qiye hesitated and said, you don't have to worry too much. You guys underestimate Luffy and the others too much. If they were really so easy to die, they wouldn't be able to lead you weak chickens to where they are today. Luo Qiye is very clear that Luffy, as the child of absolute luck, can always turn danger into good luck no matter what kind of crisis he encounters. Just like this time, Luffy and the others aimed to go directly to impel down. If they were based on their true strength, they would not be able to survive Magellan's hands at all. But just before they went to impel down, they encountered the nuclear Pingfan team. Luo Qiye shot easily, directly defeated Magellan, and saved them from danger twice. When hearing this, Luo Qiye couldn't help shaking his head. In any case, it is absolutely impossible for Luffy and his group to die, and of course, their fate will not be much better. However, for a group of Xiaoqiang from immune to death, it would be nice to make a comeback after being defeated. Then, Nami and Robin seemed to have fully recognized the reality, and stayed quietly in the cabin all day long. Everyone in the Hepping team also began to slowly move towards the headquarters base. Luo Qiye chose to lie directly on the recliner in the bright sun, and Hancock beside him was always very punctual in making close-fitting clothing. Nami and Robin who came to the deck looked at the scene in front of them with complicated expressions. Advertisement. Hancock's figure is very dazzling under the sunlight, and the combination of appearance and figure has a higher lethality for men. Not to mention the regal air of Hancock. But a woman with such a role is still willing to serve Luo Qiye. Nami couldn't help but sighed. What's wrong with this world? Is our previous thinking really too much? A look of helplessness flashed across Robin's face. After a whole day passed, the two of Robin suddenly realized that Chuan Qiye was not the lustful man they met before. Luo Qiye's strength has been proven, he can do whatever he wants at will. The nuclear team sailed slowly through the calm belt, encountering many sea kings along the way. And the bodies of these sea kings are always strange, and the meat quality is also very special. Along the way, Luo Qiye made shots from time to time, and everyone in the Hepping team also took turns to make shots. Everyone on the entire ship tasted almost all kinds of sea kings in the calm belt. In the end, Luo Qiye came to a conclusion that the taste of sea kings is really not that good, and this has nothing to do with the chef's skills, but the problem of the meat quality of sea kings itself. With the breeze blowing slowly, the nuclear peace team began to sail slowly, and the calm belt, which was originally in danger, has completely turned into a safe place. The many sea kings that used to haunt have already disappeared. Ordinary pirates of the 9 snake pirates dared to easily provoke the sea kings beside them. Everyone's daily play items have completely turned into provocative sea kings. Luo Qiye watched all this quietly the whole time, and enjoyed the personal service from Hancock from time to time. After 3 days, the people of the nuclear Pingfan team completely passed through the calm belt. At this moment, the relevant personnel of the 9 snake pirates who warned the police quickly sent back the news of the warning. Luo Qiye was still lazily lying on the reclining chair, and the rest of the Hepping team directly entered the state of combat readiness. On the sea in the distance, there are densely packed marine warships all over it, completely blocking the way of the nuclear peace team. Advertisement. On the deck of the warship in the center, an old man with gray hair stared closely at the people of the Peace Corps. Before the crowd approached, the sound of laughter came directly. Lol haha. Luo Qiye appeared too fast, and when reappeared, everyone was completely shocked. Luo Qiye, the crimes you committed have been exposed, and today I came here specially to arrest you. Although you are a 10-year-old doll, I will not spare you. Before the war started, I was really curious, why did you become so strong even though you were only 10 years old? Marine and his team went directly to the necessary road for the nuclear ping team to intercept accordingly. UB************, D, where did you come from? Everyone is very curious about where Luo Qiye grew up before doing these things. Little thief, let's get caught. After he received the corresponding order from Sengoku, he quickly led the crowd forward. There was a bright light in Garp's eyes. When he saw this, Garp laughed out loud instead, and said, "You really are just as foolish as the rumors say." Following Garp's order, the elite marines on many warships quickly began to prepare for battle. Wang Li's Luo Qiye stood up slowly, looked at the gray-haired Garp in front of him, and seemed to disdain to speak at all, but turned his head directly, turning his back to Garp in front of him. Also, before this, why didn't your name appear on the sea? A large number of guns and ammunition were all aimed at everyone in the peace team. The old man standing on the deck of the warship is the marine hero Garp. Luo Qiye, you have finally come out, but let us wait for a while. Hearing Garp's words, many marines also showed a curious look on their faces. Advertisement. 193. Looking up at the night sky, you will know where I come from. Open black lens bracket 4/5 full order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. And what kind of talent can teach Luo Qiye? What kind of talent can become the guide of a true genius like Luo Qiye? Luo Qiye stood up slowly and shook his head calmly. Look up at the night sky, and you will know where I come from. As soon as this remark came out, Garp and the others were all dumbfounded. Many people even subconsciously looked up into the sky. But at this time, night had already quietly fallen. Within the range of everyone's line of sight, there is a vast sky. Garp frowned slightly, and said, "Are you kidding us? I'm asking where the hell did you pop out from? Don't you understand human speech?" Many marines were also stunned. They all thought that Luo Qiye seemed to be playing with their B-27. Luo Qiye said calmly, "Sure enough, they are ordinary people. I have already given you the answers you want." Luo Qiye directly drew out the magic knife 1,000 blades and pointed at the sky above. Advertisement. Starlight, open the universe, and I, shine in it. Then as Luo Qiye's voice fell, everyone at the scene completely exploded. What? This guy actually compares himself to the stars. This guy is just a pirate, why is he so arrogant? Damn it, a mere child is acting arrogant in front of us. Sita, many pirates were filled with righteous indignation. This time, all those who follow the marine hero Garp are the elite in Garp's hands. These marines have their own pride. But I don't know if you or your nuclear peace team can support the 3 billion bounty. Luo Qiye nodded slightly, and said, "You go. Do your best." Although Edward Wabel is relatively reckless, his own strength is really commendable. Garp at his peak was a strong man who could attack the Rocks pirate directly, and the record of the elite troops who followed Garp was naturally incomparably brilliant. Garp, your opponent is me, come up to die. Advertisement. There was a flash of light in Garp's eyes, and his eyes were fixed on Luo Qiye in front of him. This old man will personally weigh your weight today. Holding a big knife in his hand, Edward Wabel suddenly jumped towards a small island on the right. Swish. Following Garp for many years, they successfully followed Garp to arrest many big pirates. However, at this time, Edward Wabel's eyes were full of light, and he nodded without hesitation. "My lord, just watch. I will kill this old thing in front of your face. This old thing is completely unqualified to challenge adults, he will be my defeat." After the team was tied, Edward Wabel stepped forward and said, "My lord, let me take a look at this old thing." Luo Qiye naturally knew the true strength of Edward Wabel, so he didn't have much hope. "Luo Qiye, you are as arrogant as the rumors say." Although Luo Qiye's bounty has reached 3 billion, but such a strong person, they arrest a lot of them. Even at this moment, Garp's face flashed a look of astonishment, and then the look of anger began to fill his eyes. Wabel's face was full of arrogance. In this guy's cognition, except for Luo Qiye, he and the others were all 50-50. Advertisement. 194. If you only have such a little strength, then you should not come out and show yourself. Open black lens bracket 5/5 close black lens bracket. Advertisement. 194. If you only have such a little strength, then you'd better not come out and make a fool of yourself. As soon as he arrived on the island, Edward Wabel began to yell crazily. Hearing Garp here, an angry look flashed across his face. What an arrogant boy, you will be the first person in your nuclear war team to die by this hand. Rub. Garp's body turned into an afterimage, and it was cast directly on the small island in the distance. Boom. Accompanied by a dull sound, Garp's body fell directly to the ground heavily, and a deep hole was even punched out of his body. At the same time, dense black armament Haki appeared directly on Garp's body, as if wearing a set of black armor. Boy, are you ready to die? Garp's eyes were full of coldness. Anyway, he is also above the sea, and he has already made a great reputation. This is the first time he has heard someone dare to be so arrogant in front of them in such a long time. Even the strongest of the 4 Emperors pirate group became very cautious when facing Garp. Advertisement. They were all from Garp's heyday, after all. However, the Edward Wabel in front of him is a complete stunned young man. Or in a sense, Edward Wabel is a fearless person. Apart from his mother, Miss Ba Jin and Luo Qiye, there probably isn't a third person she can look up to. Old man, don't talk big, let's see the truth. Edward Wabel's face was full of arrogance, holding a slender naginata in his hand, and looked at Garp in front of him without fear. Old thing, eat me. Edward Wabel pressed forward directly, swiping the young knife in his hand. A muffled voice appeared, and in the midair, a white sword light with a length of more than 10 meters quickly gathered. The white knife light drew a white trail in midair, and cut directly towards Garp's chest. In Garp's eyes, there was a touch of solemnity when he saw this scene. He paid attention to it in his heart, but his face was full of disdain. Garp said directly, "Boy, if you only have such a little strength, then you should not come out and shame yourself. Ask for flowers." Advertisement. A rich black armament Haki lays directly over Garp's right fist. Garp's right fist slammed forward. Then, a sound of air bursting echoed in the field. Garp's huge strength and fast punch directly compressed a large amount of air crazily. Oh. Boom. A large amount of compressed air directly collided with the huge blade light, and then a huge roaring sound was emitted. Under Garp's punch, the 10-meter-long sword glow completely disappeared into nothingness. Although Garp is old, his own strength is indeed very commendable. Seeing this, the look on Weibel's face was also a bit more dignified, but he refused to show weakness at all. "Old man, I didn't expect you to be really good at it, but I'm still far away from taking it down." Weibel rushed forward with a naginata in hand, wanting to fight Garp head-on. Swish. With a flash of his figure, Pu rushed towards the field without hesitation at the same time. Advertisement. 196. Momosugi votes. The power of the Iron Fist. Second update. Please book in full. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. It seems that you are going to be my opponent today. I've heard from Vice Admiral that you are very strong, so I just give it a try today. Then, the look on Garp's face gradually became serious. Among Garp's left and right fists, the thick black armament Haki directly covers it. From a distance, Garp seems to have put on a pair of gloves, and the gloves are black as a whole. The large amount of air around Garp's body is heating up violently. This is because Garp is preparing for battle, and the blood inside his body begins to flow faster. Under the strong effect of physical fitness, the surrounding air has even been affected accordingly. Momosugi held a long sword in his hand, and his eyes were full of fierceness. Now that he decided to start the battle directly, as a qualified strongman, Momosugi immediately entered the battle preparation state. You know, Momosugi was a real admiral candidate not long ago, and her own 24 strength is not much worse than admirals. Momosugi holds the famous sword Jinpailuo in his hand, and his eyes are full of fierce wolf. Garp, let us have a hearty fight today. Swish. Momosugi rushed forward directly, choosing to fight in close quarters at the first moment. As a swordsman, although she understood Garp's melee ability very well, but at this moment, she was not prepared to back down. This is his first battle after joining the nuclear Pingfan team, so everyone must see what level her strength is at. At this time, many people, including members of the 9 Snake Pirates, were paying attention to the battle in front of them. Nami and Robin were also looking forward to watching the battle in front of them. So, is this Admiral's candidate, Momosugi Diwan? I really want to know who is stronger between her and Garp. Momosugi can become a member of the nuclear flat team, and his own strength should be beyond doubt. Nami and Robin whispered to each other, but they both hoped that Momosugi Gion could win the final victory. We are all women. Momosugi Gion has clearly embarked on this path of fighting, and has achieved impressive results. And Nami and Robin looked at Momosugi in front of them, and naturally hoped that Momosugi, who is also a woman, could win the final victory to represent a new world for women. Advertisement. After all, there are really not many strong women on the sea. What Nami and Robin can't do by themselves, they can only hope for others. At this time, Garp didn't hold back at all, and rushed forward directly. Boom. The right fist in Garp's hand began to swing continuously, and the huge power-matched armament Haki, and the air in the midair was continuously compressed. Finally, on the battlefield, each swing of Garp can bring out a large cloud of compressed air and bombard it forward. The directly compressed air shot directly towards Momosugi in front like a cannonball. Momosugi's face was also very dignified, and the golden pila in his hand kept waving, and the golden light flashed in the midair. A stream of sword energy spread around at an extremely fast speed. Under this dense attack of sword energy, Garp had no chance to dodge at all. This girl's strength is really good. Seeing this situation, Garp couldn't help but let out a sigh of emotion, and the fist in his hand began to wave continuously, smashing all the sword chi. As the battle continued, Garp had a clearer understanding of Momosugi's true strength, and he became more regretful in his heart. If this girl doesn't leave Marine, as long as she has a chance, she should directly become the new Marine Admiral. As a veteran Marine, Garp suddenly realized that Momosugi had already possessed Admiral-level combat effectiveness in terms of strength. If Momosugi could have become Marine Admiral earlier, maybe she would not have left Marine so easily. In the back of Garp's mind, an idea that had popped up on his mind many times began to emerge again. Perhaps the existence of these old things of them occupies the position that the younger generation should occupy. It is precisely because of the existence of these old things that at this moment, many talents in Marine cannot continue to improve. Boom. The huge touch from the fist made Garp come back to his senses again, and began to shake his fist with a serious expression. The dull voice kept ringing. No matter how Momosugi waved the Jinpira in his hand, he could be directly defeated by Garp. At this moment, the ground electricity on the island has become bumpy. After a large amount of sword energy hit the ground, it quickly pulled out a gully. Advertisement. One after another gullies are attached together, and the whole looks like a dilapidated mess. Moreover, whether it is the huge fiery air swung by Garp's right fist, or the fiery sword aura from Momosugi's slash. All of them were above the ground, with scorched black traces drawn out. On the surface of the small island at this moment, Yinwang's trees have already been completely broken. There are only peripheral trees left on the island, which are still lush and upright. Garp began to gasp heavily, his strength was a little weak. Momoshiki, little girl, it's time for the battle between us to end. Unable to understand, he must not fail in this battle, so he stopped hesitating and took the initiative to attack forward. At this time, Momoshiki has also noticed the difference in Garp, and rushed forward without showing any weakness. 550. The fists collided with the sword energy, the fists collided with the long knife, and the sound of metal buzzing rang out in the long. After a while, Garp's fist swing speed increased sharply. Feel my iron fist. After Garp's fist suddenly accelerated, they repeatedly hit a certain point above Jinpai Luo in the escaped hand. Clang. Then, a violent sound began to appear, and Kimpiro was directly repelled, and Momoshiki's body was also forced to retreat backward. At this time, Garp seized the fighter and continued to rush forward. Little girl, your strength is not as good as mine, so practice hard. The Iron Fist of Love. Garp swung his right fist, and Love's iron fist shot directly, hitting Momoshiki's body, the first 3 positions. A large amount of air was directly compressed, pushing Momoshiki's body to fly backwards. Although Garp's fist did not directly touch Momoshiki's body, the powerful force made by compressing the air directly caused Momoshiki's body to lose control. Boom. Momoshiki's body flew straight towards the position of the nuclear team, and Fujitora continued to shoot. While swinging the stick knife, Momoshiki's body was blocked by the invisible gravitational light wave and landed on the deck smoothly. Advertisement. 197. Hawkeye. Excited Marines. Third update, please book in full. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. At this time, the cadre who took the second shot in the nuclear ping fan team also lost directly. Garp moved forward slowly, a big smile on his face. At this time, many Marines around began to clamor crazily. Master Garp is indeed the strongest, with him here, it is impossible for all the pirates to escape from our hands today. It seems that today we will successfully capture a big pirate with a bounty of 3 billion. This kind of thing has not happened for a long time. Just thinking about it makes me very excited. Master Garp's reputation cannot be easily compared to that of pirates, mere pirates are completely worthless in front of adults. Let the curtain of all the pirates come to an end. At this time, Fujitora said in a low voice on the deck of the nuclear flat team, my lord, let me meet Garp for a while. I will defeat it with my own hands. Fujitora's heart is full of confidence. Through the 2 previous battles, Fujitora has already figured out Garp's true strength. If he is allowed to play directly now, it is only a matter of time before he wins. Empress Hancock couldn't help but said, my lord, this guy Garp is really too arrogant, why don't you let the concubine play first, and then test it out? In this way, even if the concubine loses, it will not affect the reputation of the Hepping Fan team. The rest of the nuclear team will have more confidence when they make a shot. As he said that, Hancock eagerly rushed to the small island in front of him in a disguised form. Luo Qiye waved his hand slightly, and said, follow me. Let me do it this time. Luo Qiye looked at the extremely arrogant marine people in front of him, with a calm look on his face. Everything in the world is infinitely changing, but it is hard to stop the greed of human nature. Garp, you have already received the corresponding benefits, and you are still unwilling to leave, then I will stay here forever. Luo Qiye's voice echoed clearly in the field, and everyone present was stunned. Garp has won 2 consecutive victories, and strongly defeated 2 cadres of their nuclear team. At this time, Luo Qiye didn't care at all, and seemed to have 100% confidence in defeating Garp. After many Marines were stunned, they began to laugh wildly. Advertisement. Luo Qiye, stop being so arrogant, don't you see the current situation clearly? Luo Qiye, the ones who lost the battle were members of your nuclear team, so you should recognize the reality. Couldn't this guy be scared stupid? I think his 3 billion Pele name is completely untrue. Can such a guy get a bounty of 3 billion? It's just unbelievable. At this time, Garp also laughed loudly and said, Luo Qiye, you be ************, you are really brazen. I put my words here today, and I will definitely put all of you into Impel Down. Since you once tried to offend Impel Down, let the rest of your life be spent in Impel Down. Momoshiki, today I will use my strength to prove that your choice is wrong. Marine is the best destination for a strong player. Garp's face was full of excitement. Today's battle made him feel that he had returned to his youthful state. At this time, Garp has absolute confidence and can directly defeat the entire nuclear team. Although he is now in his twilight state, and his own combat effectiveness has begun to decline extremely. But even so, under the condition that his emotions will recover, Garp's desire to fight is very strong. Moreover, the 2 consecutive battles allowed his own fighting skills to reach the peak state. Garp in this situation can exert a powerful force in a short period of time. A strong man like archaeology is naturally very sensitive to changes in his own state. Therefore, he noticed all of this immediately, and became more confident in his heart. Against the background of the 2, Garp at this moment is basically close to his peak strength at this stage. Garp's yelling made many people in the field couldn't help cheering. The ever-powerful Vice Admiral Garp is back. This is the marine hero they are very familiar with, and it is the spiritual banner of all their marines. At this time, many people couldn't help but started to yell. Master Garp will definitely be able to defeat Luo Qiye successfully. Luo Qiye's undefeated myth will be completely ended today. Advertisement. Speaking of which, Luo Qiye is only 10 years old, how can he fight Lord Garp? Master Garp is probably more than 5 times the age of this guy. More than 5 times. When Master Garp was galloping above the sea, this Luo Qiye might not have come to this world. Quote. The many marines around became more and more excited as they talked, and even couldn't help laughing. No matter what time it was, Luo Yi's age was always a point where these guys could attack at will. Marine scout troops quickly reported the corresponding news. Hawkeye was wearing his black patterned robe, and he looked a little more aggressive and mysterious. For everyone, the battle in front of them will completely restore the dignity of their marines. Many marines around have already started cheering. At this moment, waves appeared on the surface of the sea, and dense shadows began to cover the surface of the sea. Of course, Luo Qiye didn't care about all of this at all. Naturally, Luo Qiye would not argue with some dead people about slight offenses and disrespect. As time went by, the coffin-like boat and the huge marine warship were completely exposed to everyone's sight. What? Is Hawkeye already here? On the coffin-like wooden boat, Hawkeye, the world's #1 swordsman, stood impressively, and his eyes were full of fierceness. They will also bask in the glory of victory again and enjoy the great honor brought by marine hero Garp. And our marine reinforcements have arrived. A coffin-like boat with a candle on it. Could it be that this is the boat of Hawkeye, the world's #1 swordsman? Then, the eyes of everyone gradually began to become clear. Got the benevolence. It's really Hawkeye, the world's #1 swordsman. Does he also want to watch this Luo Qiye lose directly? Everyone is looking forward to the sudden outbreak of the battle in the field. I saw a coffin-like boat and a warship quickly approaching where everyone was. Advertisement. 198. My name, you must not recite it lightly. 4/5 full order. Ask for automatic subscription. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Hawkeye, as one of the Shichibukai, is indeed qualified to watch this battle. And the appearance of Hawkeye can prevent accidents from happening. After all, he is on our side. Members of the Shichibukai are, in a way, natural allies of the Marine. Therefore, many pirates became even more excited when they saw Hawkeye's arrival. Otherwise, how could the Marine warship next to Hawkeye follow it calmly? On the huge warship, a large number of Marines are armed with long guns, and they are already ready for battle. And the artillery on the left and right of the warship has all been aimed at the nuclear flat team ahead. With just an order from Garp, a large number of artillery can directly pour forward. You know, the size of this warship is extremely large, and this warship has also performed buster call missions, so there is no doubt about the coverage of artillery fire. The sudden increase in the number of Marines made the morale of the many Marines on the scene even stronger. Marines' shouts and laughter began to echo throughout the arena. At this moment, the entire venue seemed to have completely become Marines' home field. The number of pirates has always been fixed, and these pirates seemed to be vulnerable in front of many Marines. The sound of cheers and yelling began to emerge continuously in the field. Under such a lively scene of 547, Hawkeye slowly stepped forward, and the coffin-like boat stopped directly in front of the nuclear team. Hawkeye directly raised his head, looked at Luo Qiye in front of him, and asked abruptly, Luo Qiye, has your swordsmanship been further developed? As soon as the voice fell, the many Marines on the scene immediately fell silent. Quite a few Marines even had expressions of astonishment on their faces, and quite a few people felt a little bit in their hearts, and instantly sensed something was wrong. What? Did Hawkeye really know this Luo Qiye? Why does it seem that Hawkeye and Luo Qiye are very close? What kind of relationship do they have? Damn it, did Hawkeye decide to side with the nuclear war team? Then this guy is Shichibukai. What the hell is she trying to do? Has this guy become our enemy? Advertisement. Many Marines immediately began to boil, and it was completely unexpected that Hawkeye seemed to be standing directly on the side of the nuclear team. In this way, doesn't the nuclear Ping Fan team have a strong reinforcement? On the deck of the Heping Fan team, Luo Qiye looked calmly at Hawkeye in front of him, recalling in his mind the scenes when Hawkeye personally taught him swordsmanship, with a smile on his face. Luo Qiye already possessed full-level swordsmanship talent, therefore, Luo Qiye had already mastered all the sword moves taught by Hawkeye on the spot. How about we try it now? Luo Qiye directly gave the answer Hawkeye most wanted to hear. From the beginning to the end, Luo Qiye completely ignored all Marines. For Luo Qiye, the battle with Hawkeye was something to look forward to. After all, Hawkeye has the reputation of being the world's #1 swordsman. If he can be defeated directly, he should be able to get an insufficient number of pretense points. Moreover, this request was made urgently by Hawkeye, and Luo Qiye would naturally readily agree to everything. Of course, Luo Qiye will naturally be very careful when making moves. After all, the two sides also have a deep fate to some extent. No matter what purpose Hawkeye used to guide Luo Qiye, it could be regarded as helping Luo Qiye in the early stage. A flash of light flashed in Hawkeye's eyes, and he was keenly aware of the confidence in Luo Qiye's words, but shook his head slightly. Don't worry, you should deal with the problem in front of you first, the battle between us can start at any time. And at this time, the many Marines who had heard all this, breathed a sigh of relief. Great, Hawkeye isn't Luo Qiye's ally, and they're going to keep fighting after they're done. CEDB. It seems that Hawkeye still chose to stand firmly on our side. Unfortunately, this guy doesn't seem to be ready to directly help our Marine on the spot. Let's forget it. What kind of virtues are Shichibukai? Don't you guys know? That's right, it's already very good for these guys to hinder us if they don't make a move. At this time, Garp's brows were already tightly wrinkled, and he was muttering to himself. When did Hawkeye and this Luo Qiye meet? Why didn't our Marine get any information on this? Advertisement. And it seems that the relationship between the two of them seems to be very familiar. According to the corresponding information, Luo Qiye's personality is extremely arrogant, and he doesn't even bother to make friends with ordinary people. There are many people with higher status than Hawkeye, but they are completely ignored by Luo Qiye. At this time, Hawkeye can directly talk to Luo Qiye very normally and peacefully. For Garp, this is already a very obvious signal. At least it proved that Hawkeye and Luo Qiye already had a corresponding intersection. Swish. After Luo Qiye nodded slightly, his figure flashed, and he came directly to the small island, looking at Garp in front of him. The current Garp is a bit older, and the hair on his head is full of gray. And Garp's skin is obviously loose, and there are a lot of old Madara wheels. A strong desire to fight appeared on Garp's face, and he said directly, Luo Qiye, come on. We're here to decide the winner. He waved his hand abruptly. Garp, it's up to you to make the first shot, or you won't have another chance to make a shot. You are already old. I have always been very kind to the elderly. One more thing, remember, my name, you must not recite it lightly. Luo Qiye's flat voice began to echo in the field. The corner of Garp's mouth twitched slightly, and he had a clearer understanding of Luo Qiye. Good boy, you are really extremely arrogant. Garp's right foot stepped down quickly in midair, and then the whole person quickly adjusted its position in the moonwalk situation. Luo Qiye, you are the most talented young man I have ever seen. It's a pity that you are still too arrogant in terms of being a human being now, and there are still many things you lack. Let me teach you how to be a human being here today. The rich, jet black armament Haki covers Garp's fists directly. Advertisement. 199. Garp, your fist is really weak. Impossible. No way. Advertisement. Swish. Garp was attached to armament Haki's fist, and came directly towards Luo Qiye's chest. At this time, Garp has an indomitable momentum, and even has a little fighting state at his peak. This is definitely a very rare thing for Garp who has reached old age. Garp at this time has definitely reached his strongest combat effectiveness at this stage. Looking at the scene in front of him, Luo Gengi's face was full of calm. Weak fist. Luo Qiye's right fist clenched slightly. Then, a thick armament Haki, like layers of gauze, continuously adhered to the surface of Luo Qiye's right fist. Buzz. With layers of veil-like armor and Haki's attachment, Luo Qiye's right fist actually looked a little thicker. Luo Qiye waved his right fist lightly forward. But at the same time, the air in front of the head is compressed violently. Boom. Boom. A series of violent roars appeared continuously in the hall. This kind of sound can only be produced after the air is violently compressed, and the energy of the explosion after compression can reach the level of a cannonball. At the same time, Luo Qiye's face was full of calm, staring at Garp in front of him. The fists of Luo Qiye and Garp collided violently. Boom. A dull voice appeared in the field. After waves of energy slowly spread around. After a large amount of air was compressed and exploded within a very short period of time, the energy generated even affected the surrounding people watching the battle. Everyone could clearly see that ripples began to appear on the surface of the sea. At the same time, in Garp's right fist, he clearly felt a huge force, which suddenly poured into his body. Bang bang. Advertisement. Garp didn't even have time to make any cover-up movements, only to see that his body was forced to take a dozen steps backwards. Bang bang. Garp's legs stepped down one pothole after another on the ground, and finally, after retreating a full dozen steps, he finally stood firmly on the ground. But at this time, Luo Qiye on the opposite side was still standing quietly in place, and the expression in his eyes also did not change at all. Many Marines were completely at a loss, and then there was an uproar when the clock went up. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. How could Lord Garp lose the battle? How can this guy be stronger than Master Garp? This guy is nothing more than a pirate. How can he be compared with Lord Garp? Is it possible that we are going to be defeated today? Are we men going to be defeated by a pirate? At the same time, everyone in the Hepping fan team is no stranger to all this. Only Hawkeye frowned slightly, and he noticed the clue at the first time. Sure enough, after stepping back more than 10 steps, Garp laughed loudly, and then said, as expected, you are Luo Qiye, you are really powerful. It's just that I'm afraid I will disappoint you. I only used 3 points of my strength just now. Next, I'm going to use all my strength. You little guy, are you ready? I hope you don't die under my iron fist. When they heard this, the faces of many Marines showed sudden expressions. It turns out that it is impossible for a Garp expert to fail. It's no wonder that the adults are directly deflated on the battlefield. It turns out that it's because they only used 3 points of their strength. Ha ha ha, it seems that your lord is already sure of winning the battle in front of you, that's why you are playing around like this. At this time, Garp moved forward slowly, his eyes were full of determination, and he was serious about the battle before him in his heart. I want to see how long you can last in my hands. When the voice fell to the ground, Garp's strength exploded, and this strong aura spread directly to the surroundings. The fiery murderous aura in Garp's body was directly detonated in an instant. Garp clenched his fists tightly, the armament Haki on both sides became more intense, and Tianhe looked even more dazzling. Garp's body moved forward slowly, and the weight of his body caused the ground to sink an inch involuntarily. At this time, Luo Qiye was still watching the scene in front of him quietly, with a bit of playfulness in his eyes. Advertisement. Luo Qiye, the rest of your life is destined to be spent in impel down. Asking for flowers. Boom. A flash of light flashed in Garp's eyes, and then, he swung his right fist forward suddenly, and his whole body turned into an afterimage in an instant, jumping forward directly. The fiery roar resounded in the field, and Garp's fists seemed to have completely turned into cannonballs, pulling down a black trajectory in midair, and bombarding towards the front. This is my all-out blow. Garp's face is full of confidence, and he can clearly feel that he has returned to the time when the sea was smashed. Although his body function has declined now, this fanatical desire to fight has completely mobilized all the fighting potential in her whole body. 0. Garp under full force burst forward like a wild beast, rushing forward at a very fast speed. Back then, Garp was able to confront many big pirates head-on, and many pirates also fell into Garp's hands. Therefore, the strength of Garp at his peak is of course beyond doubt. At the same time, Luo Qiye's right fist was only slightly swung forward by Luo Qiye. But the two fists collided with each other very precisely. Boom. A muffled voice echoed in the field, and then Garp's body kept moving backwards. What? A look of uncontrollable horror appeared on Garp's face. He could clearly feel that the moment the two fists collided, a huge force directly entered his body through his arms, forcing him to back up. Under such circumstances, even if Garp had used all his strength, he still couldn't do anything to Luo Qiye in front of him. Boom. Boom. Violent roaring sounds began to sound continuously, and the aftermath of the energy after the two fists collided went straight to the sea surface. Then, on the edge of the small island where the two had a decisive battle, Yingxing's waves began to erupt crazily. The sea that was originally calm and waveless continued to explode. The battle scene caused by the close combat between the two made many marines around them horrified. At this time, Luo Qiye was still standing there, motionless. Open black lens bracket 5/5. Beg for a full order. Beg close black lens bracket. Advertisement. 200. Kill marine hero Garp. Incredible. 1/5. Ask for full order. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. After Garp's fists collided, he finally stepped back dozens of steps. Looking from a distance, I can see a deep gully left on the position where Garp passed. This is Garp's legs, the ravine pulled out directly above the ground. Under the powerful force, Garp had no room to maneuver, and fell into a state of defeat. This time, everyone in the audience was completely at a loss. Just now Garp had indicated that he would use all his strength, but he still ended up in such a fate, even worse than the last fist fight. The faces of many marines were filled with astonishment. How is this possible? Master Garp still can't beat this Luo Qiye with a single shot at home. Master Garp is a marine hero. Could it be that he will be defeated by such a petty person? 593. The guy Luo Qiye's name is just rising, but Mr. Garp is the marine of the previous era. Even the more powerful pirate group was defeated by Lord Garp. Is this guy going to defeat the myth of Lord Garp today? Seeing the scene in front of him, even the face of Hawkeye who was watching the battle flashed a look of surprise. I didn't expect that Luo Qiye's physical fitness has reached this level. It seems that there is basically no suspense in this battle. Hawkeye could clearly see that Luo Qiye was fighting Garp entirely by relying on his physical fitness. In terms of physical fitness, although Garp has entered an old age state, he is still far superior to most people at the same stage. And because Garp's fists are used to fighting with high intensity, the power that erupts during the progress will be even more terrifying. However, Luo Qiye in front of him easily suppressed all these with his own physical fitness. In front of Luo Qiye, Garp is completely incomparable in terms of physical fitness and progress. And at this time, everyone in the Hepping fan team who was watching the match was completely stunned. Especially Momosuke who just made a move, with a bright light shining in his eyes. Isn't even Vice Admiral Garp a match for adults? Sure enough, my lord is very strong, but I don't know if there is anyone in Marine who can stop you. Advertisement. This thing is getting more and more interesting. On the side, Fujitora's eyes were also full of amazement. You know, he has already judged Garp's true strength clearly from the process of watching the battle before. When facing Garp, even Fujitora does not have absolute confidence that he can win directly. However, the Garp in front of him seemed to have no difficulty at all for Luo Qiye, and even Luo Qiye did not directly enter the fighting posture at all. Many members of the Nine Snake Pirates were also completely stunned. So this is Luo Qiye's true strength. Even Garp, who is known as the hero of Marine, can't beat the adults. It seems that Marine is going to lose face. I want to see how they end up. On the other hand, Hancock's eyes are full of tenderness, wishing to integrate his body into it. Robin and Nami were also completely silent on the sidelines. Robin couldn't help but said, how many pirates were directly defeated by Garp? I didn't expect Luo Qiye to completely end all of this today. Nami also nodded heavily, and said, it turns out that this guy's strength is so strong, no wonder Magellan can't resist in front of them. You must know that although Magellan is the warden of Impel Down, he cannot compare with Garp in terms of strength and fame. Garp's name had already spread throughout the sea, and because of this, everyone was so surprised to see Garp's defeat. Because for everyone, Garp is an undefeated myth. For many Marines, Garp is a banner that leads them forward. There are too many Marines who directly joined the Marine team because they admired Garp, and finally stood out from the huge Marine team. But at this time, looking at the crowd in front of him, Yin Yi said calmly. Garp, I only used a fraction of my strength just now, and I will use my full strength next. Hearing this, a look of astonishment visible to the naked eye flashed across Garp's face. What? Is this level of strength only 1 point? How is this possible? Could this guy be joking? Advertisement. On Garp's forehead, a trace of cold sweat gradually appeared. On the one hand, it was because he had exhausted a certain amount of physical strength in the battle just now. On the other hand, it was because he had a terrible guess in his heart. If what Luo Qiye said is true, then, for him now, the situation in front of him is very scary. The Conqueror's Haki on the surface of Luo Qiye's body suddenly exploded. With a strong breath, it directly charged towards the upper half of the sky. In the middle of the sky, a large number of clouds began to be torn apart crazily. The originally clear sky immediately became gloomy, and the sunlight in the field disappeared in an instant. Luo Qiye's eyes were full of coldness, and he stared closely at Garp in front of him. Then, under the sweep of Conqueror's Haki, the surrounding sea began to explode wildly. Waves of 3 to 4 meters high kept rising into the sky. On the surface of the sea, from time to time, there are marine creatures that are completely stunned by Conqueror's Haki. The bodies of some sea creatures were even completely blown apart, and a large amount of blood appeared on the surface of the sea. This caused more sea creatures to start devouring crazily, and they were directly stunned by Conqueror's Tyrant 5.6 before they even took a bite. Looking from a distance, above the sea surface, there is a layer of broken marine life floating densely. At this time, dense cracks appeared on the surface of the island. Under the loom of Conqueror's Haki, the ground could no longer bear the weight. And at this time, Garp's eyes were also full of seriousness. Even if it's for my honor, for the honor of Marine, I can't easily lose here. Even if this guy is stronger, so what? If I can't go all out, even if I lose the battle, I can't forgive myself. The rich armament Haki erupted directly on the surface of Garp's body. Then, a large amount of black breath began to envelope his body surface continuously. Advertisement. 201. End. The audience was sluggish. 2/5. Ask for full order. Advertisement. Looking from a distance, Garp seems to have entered the battle state completely at this moment, and armament Haki has completely added a full body armor to him. Garp's fists were tightly clenched, and his whole body seemed to be completely transformed into a war fortress in an instant. Under such circumstances, Garp also had no intention of leaving the battlefield. A strong desire to fight burst from the surface of Garp's body. A lot of murderous intent swept out. Garp is a person who has fought from the last era to the present. How could the murderous aura hidden inside his body be weak? The frenzied murderous intent began to spit out into the upper air crazily. Under the effect of murderous aura, the whole environment seems to be filled with an aura of iron and blood. Garp said in a low voice, Luo Qiye, since we are here, let's end this decisive battle thoroughly. Stake my own honor. At this time, Luo Qiye's eyes were full of seriousness. Among other things, this is the first time he and Garp have fought against each other. Since Luo Qiye has said that he will go all out, how can he let the water go? Moreover, regardless of the standpoint, Luo Qiye still admires Garp very much. Garp fought for 24 goals all his life, and at his peak, he defeated most of the pirates. It's a pity that Luo Qiye met Garp in his old age, otherwise the whole scene would have become more interesting. I will give you a certain amount of respect, and I will let you completely end the battle. The voice fell to the ground, and the atmosphere in the field became more tense. The Conqueror's Haki had a direct effect, causing many people in the field to continue to retreat towards the rear, unable to approach the battlefield easily. The entire island was completely enveloped by Conqueror's Haki in an instant. Many creatures on the island completely collapsed in an instant. Under the umbrella of Conqueror's Haki, nothing but the two sides of the battle could gain a foothold on the island. The eyes of many Marines are full of tension. Can Lord Garp really beat this guy? Why do I feel that there is little hope? After all, the adults have already lost when they tried their best before. Advertisement. But I don't think so. After all, Master Garp grew up from real fighting. Unless you enter into a real duel, Garp's strength cannot be 100% exerted. Only in this state, Master Garp will display his full fighting power. Next, we just have to wait and see. But at this time, Fujitora, who saw all this, couldn't help but said, Garp has become different. Could it be that this is the ultimate state of this guy? Momosugi on the side couldn't help but nodded and said, this is the real fighting state of this guy. I said, why didn't you see the evil spirit inside this guy's body during the battle just now? This time, even if it is for the glory of Marine, this guy will probably show his true strength. The Garp in the fighting state was killed from the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood, so the murderous aura he possesses is naturally beyond doubt. But at this time, Nami's face showed a look of surprise, and he said, I knew Garp couldn't admit defeat so easily, and the battle in front of me is far from over. Robin said with great emotion, it's too exaggerated. I didn't expect Luffy's grandfather to be so strong. The current Luffy may not be Garp's opponent at all. At this moment, the atmosphere in the field became very dignified. Garp took the lead, punching forward with a strong murderous aura. Under the cover of the pitch-black armament Haki, Garp at this moment seems to have become a black war fortress. Garp's body kept impacting in the midair, even blocking the sunlight from the upper half sky. When everyone looked up, Garp seemed to be a huge shadow, and there seemed to be something hidden inside, an incomprehensible existence. At this time, Luo Qiye's face was filled with seriousness. Let me give you a bright ending. Luo Qiye directly used Conqueror's winding. Exclamation mark. Wisps of red conqueror's haki cover the striker directly. Garp's iron fist opened his bow left and right, and powerful roaring sounds continued to appear in the field. Advertisement. One after another sound waves spread continuously towards the surroundings. At this time, Garp perfectly showed his full strength. Under the action of a pair of iron fists, even Conqueror's Haki, who was always invincible, was temporarily suppressed a little. Because of this, Garp's eyes became even brighter. He suddenly discovered that in this state, he might really have the hope of victory. After all, in battle, it relies on combat experience and skills, not just combat strength. Luo Qiye looked at the scene in front of him calmly, and finally his figure flashed. This warship was completely shattered in an instant, and finally only a base was left floating slowly above the sea. The deck of the warship was shattered in an instant, and Garp's body remained undiminished, directly smashing into the cabin. Luo Qiye swung his right fist violently. The overall speed didn't even give Garp any time to react. I heard that the materials used for marine warships are all very particular, and this is the result of the full research of the Marine Research Department. And many Marines around hurriedly started to rescue in a hurry. It's all over. At the same time, more Marines even had dull looks on their faces. Then, in an instant, Luo Qiye's body came directly in front of Garp. Garp's body made a trail in midair. Boom. In terms of strength, Marine's warship can even easily be the first shell fired by ordinary pirates. A violent roar sounded, and Garp's body flew backwards like a broken sack. The entire cabin was directly shattered in an instant, and the fragments of the star began to crazily splash upwards to the surroundings. Luo Qiye's fist directly hit Garp's chest. However, the aftermath of the energy remaining on the surface of Garp's body directly shattered the entire cabin. Accompanied by a violent roar, Garp's body directly hit a warship. Many Marines on the warship chose to jump directly into the sea at the first time, and only then did most of them survive directly. Boom. Advertisement. 202. You only used a bit of strength just now, you are still too weak after all. Advertisement. Failed. Master Garp really failed completely this time. What should we do? Even Lord Garp has been defeated directly. Now we don't have any room for maneuver. And at this time, Hawkeye said with emotion, so this is the real strength of this guy. It's only been a long time, and this guy has come to this step. Nami even muttered. How strong is this guy? Even the marine hero Garp is no match for him. Everyone could clearly see that Garp's strength was completely insignificant in front of Luo Qiye, and there was no comparison between the two. Otherwise, how could Garp lose directly after the battle started? And there is no excuse for Garp's defeat this time. Under everyone's gaze, Garp was directly and forcefully defeated. Marine's spiritual totem was directly defeated by Luo Qiye. It can be clearly seen that there is even a look of sadness on the faces of many Marines around. They couldn't even accept what was happening in front of them for a while. Garp's defeat was more of a mental blow to them. The spirit totem was directly defeated in front of him, which even slightly shook the worldview of many Marines. You know, a lot of them got in because of Garp. Luo Qiye completely broke part of their spiritual backbone in front of everyone. The far-reaching significance represented by this battle may not be understood for a while. Luo Qiye quietly looked at the messy battlefield in front of him, his face was full of indifference. You want me to go to hell, then I will destroy your heaven. Luo Qiye's voice clearly echoed across the battlefield. For many Marines, Garp is not their spiritual paradise. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you succeeded in pretending to be aggressive, and got 30,860 pretending points. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. At this moment, among the ruins of the battleship, with the help of many Marines, Garp slowly crawled out. Everyone looked up and had a panoramic view of Garp's situation. At this time, there was a hideous wound on Garp's chest, and a lot of blood was flowing out of it. Moreover, part of the wreckage on the warship was directly inserted into his body. However, even so, Garp used the thick armament Haki to forcefully stop the wound, but at this moment the expression on his face became extremely pale. At this point Garp didn't even have time to deal with the injury. You guys are so powerful. Even Garp's face was full of surprise. During the second fist fight, although he had already made sufficient mental preparations, after the fight started, he never expected that Luo Qiye could unleash such a powerful attack. It seems that you guys didn't lie to me. Before that, you really only used 1 point of strength. Garp's face was full of emotions, he was convinced of his defeat in this battle. And in this battle, he has no possibility of continuing to make excuses. In this battle, no matter from which angle he made excuses, he couldn't justify it. What's more, Garp never thought of admitting that he was defeated in the battle. Above the sea, is there anyone else who can stop your progress? Garp murmured. But at this time, when they heard Garp's evaluation, many people around were stunned. Then a burst of uproar resounded through the audience. First of all, I couldn't suppress the surprise in my heart and looked at the many Marines. Garp gave Luo Qiye such a high evaluation directly in front of so many people. Coupled with his crazy defeat on the frontal battlefield before, this was also a huge shock to everyone. At this time, after hearing Garp's evaluation, many Marines fully understood how strong Luo Qiye is in front of them. You must know that Garp is a strong man who has survived from the last era to the present, and he does not know how many strong men he has met along the way. Garp actually made such an evaluation, so Luo Qiye's personal strength is naturally beyond doubt. Even Garp thinks this guy Luo Qiye is invincible. Advertisement. Could it be that Luo Qiye is stronger than the four emperors? It's hard to say. I'm afraid no one knows where the upper limit of his strength is except this guy himself. That's right, you must know that Mr. Garp just now didn't force out the full strength of this guy. Otherwise I really doubt that Master Garp can survive this battle. This is really exaggerated. How on earth did this guy in front of me do all this? Garp's evaluation also directly entered the hearts of everyone present. Nami on the side murmured, even Garp spoke so highly of this guy. At this moment, Nami and Robin completely understood how strong Luo Qiye was after defeating Garp and gaining his approval. Luo Qiye did not prevent Garp in front of him from being treated. At this time, the Chinese Marine is rushing to treat the injured colleagues in this battle. Bang! Because he never thought of killing Garp completely. Thunder suddenly appeared in the midair, and a large number of dark clouds spread over it. Such a strong man should never lack followers. A streak of lightning began to surge crazily in the dark clouds. Luo Qiye enjoys the calm sailing process on the sea even more. And at this moment, Hawkeye standing on a coffin-board boat couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Luo Qiye, it's been a while since we saw each other. I didn't expect you to surprise me so much. Garp has also been admitted to the critically injured unit. The people above the sea were silent, and they hadn't recovered from the Nuo's Jiao seen just now. These lightning strikes seem to be showing the current situation of Luo Qiye's battle, and also showing the future development direction of Marine. Robin's face was full of complex expressions, and he said, no wonder Luffy and the others will be directly defeated by Luo Qiye, no wonder he looks down on us at all. Of course, Luo Qiye would be afraid of Marine who directly entered the state of riot, but he didn't want to cause trouble for himself. How can anyone stop it directly? If someone came out to disturb him from time to time, he would not be able to have a panoramic view of the beautiful scenery above the sea. Destroying Garp can make many Marines despair, and killing Garp will make many Marines completely furious. Advertisement. 203. Luo Qiye vs the world's no. One swordsman. The sword comes out of the sky and the thunder falls. Advertisement. Your combat power is already very good, today you are completely worthy of my shot. Clang. As he said that, Hawkeye directly pulled out Hidoye, one of the 12 supreme sharp knives in his hand. The surface of the black knife is covered with a film, and the light is completely swallowed on the surface of the black knife, making the knife look even more weird. This knife is also the weapon that Hawkeye uses from start to finish. And there is even a small short sword hanging around Hawkeye's neck. And this short sword will only be used directly when facing some opponents who are not worthy of his shot. Hawkeye directly drew out the cross black knife on his back, and directly entered the state of combat readiness. After watching the real estate battle, Hawkeye didn't dare to underestimate Luo Qiye. And at this time, the faces of the surrounding Marines suddenly appeared full of surprise. Hawkeye who shot suddenly seemed to let them see the hope of victory. Great. After all, Hawkeye is the #1 swordsman in the world, and his strength is beyond doubt. Even if Luo Qiye is very strong, but he has exhausted a certain amount of physical energy in the previous battle, he will definitely be defeated by Hawkeye. Hawkeye is from Shichibukai, and he can barely be regarded as an ally of our Marine. As long as he can directly defeat Luo Qiye, then it can greatly save the situation for our Marine. That's right, Hawkeye will definitely win this battle. Garp directly asked the crowd to lift him onto the deck, barely opening his eyes a slit, ready to watch the upcoming battle. Has Hawkeye made a move too? I don't know how the battle between the two of them will end. Garp doesn't understand Kendo, so he won't judge anyone based on Kendo. Garp is very clear that with the strength of Hawkeye, he already has the strength to crush all Shichibukai. Hawkeye can become a Shichibukai, mainly because the maximum authority that the world government can give is only the privilege of Shichibukai. Otherwise, the rest of them would not have any qualifications to be directly tied with Hawkeye. The #1 swordsman in the world is not just talking. Even among the 4 Emperor's pirates, there are too many people who use long swords to fight. Advertisement. But these people are far inferior to Hawkeye in the way of swordsmanship. Of course, this does not mean that Hawkeye's combat effectiveness is higher than that of all people who use long swords. But if compared to the comprehension above the way of the sword, Hawkeye can definitely, take it out at any time, and can conduct in-depth counseling with anyone without falling into a disadvantage. This time, Luo Qiye's eyes were full of seriousness. The person in front of him was Hawkeye, who even had a slight influence on his kendo in the early stage. Moreover, Hawkeye can win the title of the world's #1 swordsman over the entire ocean, and the path he has traveled on the way of the sword is naturally very far-reaching. Luo Qiye said slowly, I will fight with my corresponding understanding of kendo. I will use the sword in my hand to thoroughly prove that the way of swords I practice is the only correct one. Because of me who conquers everything, everything is right. Luo Qiye's eyes were full of determination. Luo Qiye directly held the magic knife 1,000 blades in his right hand. The rhythm of the battle is on the verge of breaking out. The surface of the magic knife 1,000 blades in Luo Qiye's hand was shining with light. Boom. In an instant, amidst the dense clouds in the upper half of the sky, a bolt of lightning struck directly. This thunder and lightning directly hit the magic knife Shinran below. However, the powerful thunder and lightning were directly absorbed by the magic knife Qian Ren. Then, it seemed that the prelude had been completely kicked off. The magic knife 1,000 blades in Luo Qiye's hand continuously attracted lightning bolts to strike down. A series of lightning bolts galloped directly towards Luo Qiye, but they didn't affect his body in any way. Looking from a distance, Luo Qiye seemed to have completely grasped the thunder and lightning in the upper half of the sky. Coupled with the calm expression on Luo Qiye's face, the numerous thunder and lightning at the scene seemed to become his background wall. At this time, Hawkeye couldn't help the look of conspiracy and surprise flashing across his eyes. Advertisement. Can the long sword in his hand even directly attract the lightning in midair? It seems that he has found a way to fight thunder. Sure enough, this little guy is growing very fast. It seems that today I will go all out. Hawkeye's eyes are full of seriousness, and at the same time, there is a bit more expectation in his heart. Although I can't be in the same place and feel the battle between the two strong swordsmen, these images should also have a certain impact on Zoro's strengthening. But no matter what, Fujitora has no regrets about directly abolishing his own eyes. At this moment, Hawkeye seemed to completely merge with the Black Knife Knight in his hand in an instant. Nami and Robin soon began to manipulate the camera phone bugs, and even placed multiple phone bugs at different angles, trying to record all the details received. Is this the strength of Hawkeye? This guy didn't even start fighting, and he already gave people such a sense of oppression. Which of these two guys has a better understanding of the way of the sword? And all the fighting strength and record of Luo Qiye in front of him have already shown that he is the opponent that Hawkeye has been looking forward to for a long time. It's too strong. Both sides are not good at each other. To be able to watch this battle in the field is simply all the luck of my life. Seeing this scene, a look of anticipation flashed across the faces of many Marines. A strong sense of sharpness erupted directly from Hawkeye's body. Robin on the side took out a camera phone bug from his arms without hesitation, and then said, "We can directly shoot every battle scene." At this time, Nami on the deck said with great emotion, "It seems that the two of them want to fight directly through Kendo." Although Fujitora can perceive what is happening in front of his eyes through the spaced color Haki, it is still very different from what his eyes see. You must know that for Hawkeye, what he desires most is to fight with a powerful swordsman. It's a pity that Zoro is not at the scene, otherwise, she will definitely be able to gain more by watching this battle. At this moment, Fujitora even felt slightly regretful in his heart. Fujitora exhaled slightly, and then said, "It's such a pity, the old eyes can no longer witness this battle." Advertisement. 204. The sky is split. Earth-shattering, boundless terror. 5/5. Ask for full order. Advertisement. After all, this move means that he has completely drawn a clean line from his previous life. Only in this way can Fujitora's deep grief be suppressed. He can no longer look directly at the evils of this world, and it is his last stubbornness to perceive everything around him through observation Haki. Momosugi was also watching the scene in front of her quietly, her face was full of excitement, and her mind was full of messy thoughts. Is this a duel between top swordsmen? Everyone seems to have completely integrated sword energy into their lives. When on earth will I be able to reach their level? Even though Momosugi is very confident in her own strength, she doesn't think her kendo can surpass the two who are about to fight. As the world's #1 swordsman, Hawkeye's path to the sword has already been recognized by everyone. And Luo Qiye has shown his great strength in the way of swords with his strong performances time and time again. Boom. The dark clouds in the sky became denser, and thunder and lightning began to wreak havoc in the midair. After a while, in the dark clouds, they kept gathering, as if they were waiting for something. Luo Qiye looked at the thunder and lightning above, and a flash of enlightenment suddenly flashed in his eyes. It's really interesting. A smile appeared on Luo Qiye's face involuntarily, and he slowly raised the magic knife thousand blades in his hand. Swish. In the midair, a bolt of lightning suddenly landed, and the purple lightning drew a purple trajectory in the midair. The thunder and lightning struck directly above the sea. At the same time, Luo Qiye swung the magic knife thousand blades directly forward, and a sword energy with a length of 100 meters cut directly forward. At the same time, the entire sea continued to explode. The sword energy displayed by Luo Qiye directly combined with the purple thunder and lightning, causing a crack to appear on the entire sea surface in an instant. Seeing this scene, Hawkeye was not surprised but delighted, and said, "Luo Qiye, you really gave me a big surprise." The black knife Yi in Hawkeye's hand also suddenly slashed out with his backhand. A violent buzzing sound appeared, and a 100-meter-long sword energy also swept across the front of the sea. Advertisement. The two sword chis formed a distinct boundary between Chu River and Han, passing across the air continuously, and finally collided suddenly on the sea. Boom. A violent roar sounded instantly, and the two sword chi evacuated and scattered in midair as soon as they collided. The sharp suggestion spread throughout the world, and the many Marines who were watching the battle instantly felt faint pains on the surface of their skin, as if someone was cutting their bodies with a knife. Many people looked down and found that Madara traces had appeared on the surface of their own skin. What? Even if we can't even watch the battle? Damn it. What the hell is going on here? Can't we even bear the aftermath of these two guys fighting? After Garp noticed this scene, Deng even ordered, "Everyone back 1,000 meters." With Garp's order, many marine warships immediately retreated to the rear, and came to a position 1,000 meters away from Shaodu Port. After reaching this position, many Marines suddenly found that the pain from their bodies disappeared in an instant. However, no matter what, after Luo Qiye fought just now, the scene that had a slight impact on their bodies was deeply imprinted in their hearts. The many Marines around him also had a clearer understanding of Luo Qiye's true strength. Although they did not directly participate in the battle, their physical fitness could not even bear the impact of the aftermath of the battle. A look of horror appeared on the faces of many Marines, staring closely at the two figures who were fighting in the distance. They couldn't imagine how miserable the ending would be if they were the enemies of those two figures. Swish. Luo Qiye held the magic knife Thousand Blades and rushed directly to the position where Hawkeye was in front of him. This time, Hawkeye didn't hesitate at all, and also rushed directly to the front. For a swordsman, only when they are fighting head-on, can they fully practice the way of swords in their hearts. A swordsman's wounds can only be on the front chest, not the back. Asking for flowers. Otherwise, it means that the swordsman fled the scene at the last moment of the decisive battle, so the enemy will draw a wound on his back. For a real swordsman, even from the beginning of the battle to the moment of death, all the wounds on the body are on the chest, which can prove that this person is completely loyal to the way of the sword. Advertisement. One shot, kill demons. A cold light flashed in Luo Qiye's eyes, the long sword in his hand suddenly moved forward. Behind Luo Qiye, a huge black phantom appeared in an instant. This sword energy immediately blended the blackness behind him into it. Looking from a distance, it seems that there is a huge figure that is rushing directly towards Hawkeye. Well done. An invisible wave moved forward slowly, and in the process of moving, all the surrounding air was attracted. Luo Qiye suddenly became excited. The two sword chi collided directly. Under the action of many airs, the huge training contained inside the knife exhibited by Luo Qiye was shattered in an instant. An invisible sword energy shot out from his body immediately. As the world's #1 swordsman, how could he be at a disadvantage in the confrontation he saw? Hawkeye's eyes closed slowly, and then at the last moment, he slashed out the black sword knight in his hand. Hawkeye's eyes were full of desire to fight, and he tightly held the black knife knight in his hand. Without using other abilities, Luo Qiye relied on his swordsmanship to fight, and the eagle eye in front of him really had the strength to fight him. It's really a very good opponent. Boom. A large amount of air was directly compressed, and finally the sword pulled a large amount of compressed air, attacking forward. But that's why it's interesting. What's the point of an unchanging battlefield? Seeing this scene, a serious look flashed across Luo Qiye's face. And after Hawkeye's sword move completed the goal this time, it also slowly returned to the space between heaven and earth. After experiencing many battle opponents, for the first time Luo Qiye has a very strong interest in the eagle eye in front of him. Advertisement. 205. The sky is split. One sword, cut off the thunder and lightning. Shock the audience. Open black lens bracket seek full order close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Luo Qiye could clearly perceive that his brain was running at a high speed. This change made him a little excited in an instant. Following the deep feeling in his heart, Luo Qiye suddenly swung the magic knife Qian Ren forward. A thunderbolt in the upper half of the sky landed directly at the first time. Whoosh! The thunder and lightning that pierced through the air directly merged with this sword energy, and then, the purple thunder and lightning decorated this sword energy into a purple beast. One-shot style, Zidian. In an instant, Luo Qiye was so blessed that he cut out the knife suddenly. The many dark clouds in the upper sky seemed to be completely pulled by this knife in an instant, and the thunder and lightning in the upper sky became more dense. The purple lightning bolts turned into thin lightning bolts, which fell directly downward. At this scene, many of the exhibitors around the August 7th were completely stunned. In their line of sight, Luo Qiye's knife moved the purple lightning in midair in an instant, and the two even combined with each other. What? How is this possible? Is this still sword energy? I always feel that this guy seems to be able to use lightning to fight. Is this guy the demon fruit power of thunder? Is there really anyone in this world who can practice swordsmanship to this point? And in the sight of the eagle eye, it can be clearly seen that the knife Luo Qiye slashed, carrying the power of lightning, came directly towards him. What a sword move to take advantage of the general trend. In Hawkeye's eyes, a group of bright rays of light bloomed. He could clearly perceive that Luo Qiye used this move to directly take advantage of the surrounding combat environment, reaching the stage where the weather is right, the place is right and the people are harmonious. Hawkeye took a deep breath, condensed all his energy, and blended into the black knife knight and still exhibited. A sword chi with a length of more than 200 meters appeared directly in midair, cutting forward with incomparable coercion. This knife also cut out the peak of Hawkeye's strength at this moment. The two sword chi collided suddenly, and the white sword chi and the purple sword chi merged directly in an instant. Advertisement. But this time, the white sword aura displayed by Hawkeye did not withstand the enormous power, and the purple sword aura continued to move forward. A sharp look flashed in his eyes. Yan once again clenched the black knife Yi in his hand, and moved forward quietly. Swish swish. The black knife knight was lifted up by Hawkeye, and finally, it ran across the chest. At this time, the purple sword energy had already reached Hawkeye. The two collided, and after the purple sword energy came into contact with Haidoye, it instantly turned into streaks of fine lightning, and diffused towards the surrounding environment. At the first moment, Hawkeye even felt the threat to his life, so he was forced to take 3 steps backwards. Holding Haidoye's Hawkeye in his hand, after taking 3 steps back, he realized that the purple sword energy had completely dissipated. And at this moment, after falling into the eyes of many spectators around, there was a look of horror on the faces of everyone. What did I see? Is Hawkeye in the middle of a fight and lost? How is this possible? Even the world's #1 swordsman can't defeat Luo Qiye. Has the world's #1 swordsman surrendered? In the battle just now, Hawkeye was clearly at a disadvantage. Under such circumstances, Pharyngitis became even more excited, and the strength of holding the black sword in Yi continued to increase. But at this time, the cloudy clouds in the upper half of the sky became more dense. Boom! Thunder and lightning flashed continuously in it, and the sound of violent roar continued to resound. Looking from a distance, many lightning bolts became very dense, and it seemed that after being pulled by the knife just now, they could no longer stop. Even the people around who were watching the battle couldn't help raising their heads and looked at the work control. The dense thunder and lightning even covered the position of several kilometers, and it was possible to think of falling below at any time. And the small island where Luo Qiye and the two fought was the most central location where the thunder and lightning fell. The faces of many marines are full of emotion. The scene of these two guys fighting, and even the celestial phenomena have completely changed. Since these two guys started fighting, dense purple lightning has appeared in the midair, which is really terrifying. Advertisement. Could it be that these lightning bolts were caused by these guys after they fought? The Luo Qiye just now can use the purple lightning to fight at will, maybe he has already prepared all this. And on the battlefield at this moment, Luo Qiye raised his head and looked at the upper half of the sky, frowning slightly. Who made you thunder? The fighting atmosphere between the two of us has been affected by these lightnings, which is really annoying. Luo Qiye suddenly grasped the magic knife Thousand Blades in his hand, the energy inside his body began to pour out crazily, and then he directly slashed towards the upper half of the sky. Get out! Luo Qiye's low voice rang out in the field. At the same time, a sword aura soared directly into the sky, and the 300-meter-long sword aura cut directly towards the dark clouds in the upper half of the sky. Boom! Intense roaring sounded loudly in the arena, and a large amount of air was directly cut into two halves in an instant, and the place where the sword energy passed, even directly formed a vacuum zone. The 300-meter-long sword energy hit the cloud in the upper half of the sky in an instant. After the violent humming sound appeared, a large number of dark clouds were directly cut apart in an instant, and the dark clouds in the midair could not resist the attack of the sword energy at all. Seeing this scene, the faces of many marines around them were full of horror. The clouds were split, the sky was split. What is this situation? 5.9. Why can Jianqi still attack Yinyan? What about those lightning bolts? Why did those lightning bolts suddenly disappear? Why didn't those lightning bolts attack him? Could it be that these lightning bolts were really made by him? So he can kill them at any time. At the same time, the 300-meter-long sword exploded directly in midair. When a large number of dark clouds disappeared directly into the midair, the long-lost sun appeared in everyone's sight. Then I saw a blazing sun, directly sprinkled down. The golden sun shone down on the world, completely illuminating the pitted battlefield below. But at this time, everyone was shocked to find that the time at this moment coincided with Zongsheng. The noon sun was very hot, and the hot sun completely woke everyone up. Advertisement. 206. Hawkeye, it is also my honor as a swordsman to die under the strongest swordsmanship. 3/5 ask for full order. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. And at this time, the crowd who were watching the battle completely exploded. Even Garp, the marine hero who was seriously injured, had a dull look on his face. What? Did the thunderbolt and the dark cloud be cut apart? Has this guy's sword energy reached this level? Could it be that he didn't show his true strength at all during the process of fighting with Hawkeye? This is impossible. Garp's heart was constantly churning, and terrible thoughts kept surging upwards. On the deck of the nuclear tie-up team, Nami and Robin were also completely stunned. Nami couldn't help but let out a groan, and then said, "Where is the upper limit of this guy's strength? How did his sword energy achieve this scene? Could it be said that a pure attack can directly change the sky?" Robin took a deep breath and said, "This is the first time I have seen such a terrifying strong man." 24. Conqueror's Haki can directly change the sky, but this is the first time I have seen someone who can change the sky with sword energy. It's terrible. No wonder this guy Luo Qiye can get to where he is now. He definitely has the qualifications to be proud of. The scene, which was originally covered with clouds, completely became sunny in an instant. Even Fujitora and the others, who had long been used to Luo Qiye's powerful strength, were completely at a loss. A look of fanaticism came over Edward Weeble's face. Is this the real strength of the adults? Sure enough, my lord is the strongest existence in this world, who else can stop the progress of our nuclear team? Momosuke tightly held the long sword in his hand, and said in his heart, only by following in the footsteps of the adults can we continue to climb the peak of Kendo. Even Fujitora couldn't help holding the stick knife in his hand, and asked, should I kill the sky directly with one knife? This powerful strength, Fujitora didn't even know how to evaluate what he saw. In short, the cognition of everyone on the scene was directly refreshed. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Congratulations to host, you have successfully pretended to be aggressive, and you have obtained 44,444 pretending points. Close black lens bracket. On the battlefield, seeing this scene in front of him, his face was also full of horror, but he didn't have the slightest thought of shrinking back. It is precisely because of this that this duel is so exciting. Hawkeye's desire to fight became stronger, his whole body seemed to have turned into a long knife, and the sharp aura on his body became more obvious. Let's fight again. The black knife Yi in Hawkeye's hand began to swing wildly, and the whole person seemed to have entered a crazy situation, like a madman. Swish swish. A dense stream of sword energy continuously sliced forward. Numerous sword chi intertwined into a large net in midair, covering Luo Qiye directly in front of him. The sharp aura filled the audience, and Hawkeye, the world's #1 swordsman, fired at full force. The dense sword energy in the field is very eye-catching, and gullies began to appear on the ground. Even if there is only a slight slash of sword energy hitting the ground, it can directly pull out a crack. The surrounding seawater exploded continuously, and the scene seemed to have completely turned into a scene of heaven and earth falling apart. Seeing this scene, Luo Qiye was also full of fighting spirit. Slashing is the most persuasive way in this world. The magic knife thousand blades in Luo Qiye's hand swung forward suddenly, after pushing twice in succession. A violent buzzing sound sounded in the field. The two huge sword chi intersect directly, forming a cross shape that intersects with each other. Tear it apart. Two long sword bodies intertwined with each other suddenly charged forward. Swish swish. The sound of breaking through the sky continued to sound. In the end, the two streams of sword energy that Luo Qiye slashed directly tore the huge sword light in front of him completely. Under such circumstances, the sword energy between heaven and earth also completely came to an end. Advertisement. And in this duel, Hawkeye also completely fell behind. The Sword King that Hawkeye slashed out with all his strength couldn't even block the two sword chi slashed by Luo Qiye. The gap in strength between the two was reduced by 1 point. Seeing this scene, many people watching the battle completely held their breath. Luo Qiye is stronger, the world's #1 swordsman is not his opponent. If it weren't for Luo Qiye keeping his hand, the current battle should have been completely over. Isn't even the world's #1 swordsman his opponent? How strong is this guy? After a moment of silence on the battlefield, Hawkeye said slowly, Luo Qiye, show off your strongest strength. For a swordsman, this moment is stronger than the last moment, which is always the most anticipated thing. However, at this moment, there was a look of madness on Hawkeye's face, and he said, it is my honor as a swordsman to die under the strongest swordsmanship. I'm still moving forward, and my strength is still increasing. If I can die under this trick of yours, I will be satisfied. When Luo Qiye faced Hawkeye, he really couldn't arouse any desire to kill, and of course he didn't want him to die easily on the spot. Take out your move that directly slashed the clouds and lightning, and let me see your true strength. According to the rumor, your sword can directly stop time and space, let me see that sword. Luo Qiye's words completely matched his imagination of a swordsman. A look of fanaticism appeared on Hawkeye's face, and then he saw the road for a moment. Hawkeye can reach this level, precisely because he has found the true meaning of fighting. The confrontation is the original intention of the two of us in 910, not killing. Hearing this, Luo Qiye said slowly, I don't have the strongest sword in the true sense, I only have a stronger sword move than the last one. Hawkeye keeps sailing on the sea surface, in order to be able to meet more powerful opponents, and constantly sharpen himself in battles. If it wasn't for self-improvement, how could Hawkeye keep navigating the whole world with a coffin-like boat? What's the point of continuing the current fight like a child's playhouse? As he spoke, his eyes were like a falcon, staring closely at Luo Qiye in front of him. Come on, use your strongest sword move at this moment. Luo Qiye shook his head slightly, and said calmly, if I use that trick, you will die. Advertisement. 207. Heaven did not give birth to me Luo Qiye, swordsmanship is like a long night. Unlimited sword system. 4/5. Ask for full order. Advertisement. Hawkeye suddenly realized that he recognized Luo Qiye in front of him even more. Whether in terms of strength or cognitive concept, Luo Qiye is very suitable for his current state of mind. Seeing that the eagle eyes in front of him suddenly changed into this look, Luo Qiye was silent for a while, and said, as you wish. Swish. At the last moment, Luo Qiye's figure flashed and came directly into the midair. I will give you the honor you deserve. Luo Qiye directly pulled out the magic knife Chinran in his hand, and then, the next moment, a dazzling light bloomed directly in midair. Everyone looked up and saw that the magic knife thousand blades in Luo Qiye's hand seemed to be designed to become a small sun, reflecting a throbbing light. Unlimited sword system. Cut. Luo Qiye directly integrated many understandings in this battle, and with the help of the talent of the infinite sword system, he slashed directly downward. An invisible sword energy suddenly formed, and the powerful power contained in the magic knife sky blade flew downward at the same time. Boom. The moment this sword chi appeared, it began to explode continuously in midair. In the next moment, numerous ripples appeared in the field, continuously spreading around. Boom, boom. Accompanied by the continuous roaring sound, deep pits appeared on the surface of the sea. A large amount of seawater began to surge towards the surroundings crazily, like a tsunami scene at this moment. Hawkeye saw this scene, and there was a look of strong expectation in his eyes. Is this the strongest move? At this moment, Hawkeye still did not give up the black knife in his hand, held it tightly in his right hand, and slowly closed his eyes. This knife is what I have learned all my life. Hawkeye suddenly opened his eyes, and a bright light came out, and then seemed to have exhausted all the strength in his body, and swung the black knife forward. A thick black sword energy directly appeared in midair, and the length directly exceeded 500 meters. Advertisement. The 500-meter long sword energy moved directly forward, and everything along the way seemed to be constantly being cut apart. There are even dense cracks appearing on the ground where the black sword energy passed through. The black sword energy did not touch the ground, but the powerful power still caused the entire ground to tear apart. Seeing this scene, Momosegi's eyes showed a dignified expression. As expected of the world's #1 swordsman, in such a desperate situation, he can display such a sword. This guy is indeed worthy of the title of great swordsman. Momoshiki can clearly perceive that the spirit of Hawkeye is constantly changing with the black sword energy on display. This is because Momoshiki, who is also a person who has embarked on the path of swordsmanship, fully understands what it means for Hawkeye to be able to display this knife at this moment. If it were an ordinary person, facing this situation, Luo Qiye would have already collapsed completely. And Hawkeye has thoroughly practiced what a swordsman should do, always going forward bravely, always facing the attack head-on. The two sword chi collided suddenly. In the astonished gazes of everyone, the black sword energy from the eagle eye was completely shattered in an instant. At the same time, the knife that Luo Qiye slashed was still moving forward. The mighty sword energy is still cutting forward. Under such circumstances, Hawkeye still stood there quietly, without any thought of escaping. What? Is Hawkeye dying? As the world's #1 swordsman going to die directly under this move? Why doesn't this guy hide? Is this guy trying to kill himself? At this moment, everyone who saw the current situation on the battlefield immediately had such thoughts. However, at this moment, a cheerful smile appeared on Hawkeye's face. Hawkeye is using his own actual actions to prove what he just said. It is his own glory to be able to die under the strongest sword. Seeing this, a complex look flashed across Luo Qiye's face. Luo Qiye's right hand moved slightly, and then an invisible wave of light began to pull the surrounding sword energy. And the huge invisible sword energy in front of him was still approaching Hawkeye. Advertisement. The fine hairs on the surface of Hawkeye's body began to stand up crazily, and warnings were constantly coming from deep in his heart. The top perception of being a swordsman is constantly reminding him that he should stay away from this position. However, Hawkeye remained motionless at this moment. Just when this sword energy was about to slice through Hawkeye's body, Luo Qiye in midair suddenly swung his right hand. Then, a huge invisible sword energy directly stayed in front of Hawkeye's body. At this moment, Hawkeye's eyes widened suddenly, and he could even clearly perceive that a huge invisible sword energy directly stayed in front of his body, motionless. How on earth did this happen? In Hawkeye's eyes, a deep look of horror appeared in an instant. Then, Luo Qiye in midair gently moved the stone people. The huge invisible sword energy completely dissipated in an instant. Perceiving this scene, the horror on Hawkeye's face became more intense. As we all know, when a powerful attack is sent out directly, even the sender can't take these attacks back into the body at any time. Unless it is demon fruit power, it is very difficult to do all this. Especially for a great swordsman, no matter what methods he uses, he may not be able to directly collect the sword energy he has slashed into his pocket. But under everyone's gaze, Luo Qiye easily accomplished this scene, easily saving Hawkeye's final outcome. If of Li Jiao this sword chi cuts directly forward, Hawkeye, who has no idea of evasion, will definitely disappear completely under this sword. The body of the world's #1 swordsman will also be completely split in two. Many people with observation haki around noticed this scene at the same time, and their faces were also full of shock. Can the sword energy sent out be taken back directly? Was the sword energy emitted completely dissipated? How did all of this happen? Could it be that there is a special control method in this sword energy? Everyone was completely at a loss. Needless to say, it's sword energy, even if it's other attacks, it's impossible to take it back at will after sending it out. As far as Garp is concerned, how can he throw a fist bone meteorite and take it back at will? If this is the case, doesn't that mean that he can change his attack direction at any time? Advertisement. 208. The world's greatest swordsman changes owner. Like ants. 5/5. Ask for full order. Advertisement. If Garp's attack can be adjusted accordingly, doesn't that mean that his attack hit rate can reach a real 100%? At this time, Hawkeye also looked at Luo Qiye with a complicated face. Is this your strongest sword so far? I am convinced that I lost. From now on, the title of world's #1 swordsman no longer belongs to me. Hawkeye's voice echoed throughout the venue, and the faces of the surrounding people showed a look of shock. Everyone could clearly see the admiration on Hawkeye's face, but they couldn't see any trace of anger and unwillingness. In the real kendo duel, Hawkeye lost. He was very happy and willing to accept everything in front of him. It was precisely because of encountering a more powerful opponent that Hawkeye found his future direction. Therefore, he didn't care about Luo Qiye's victory at all. Moreover, Hawkeye didn't care about the title of the world's #1 swordsman at all. But for the people around watching the battle, this is really too shocking. The name of the world's #1 swordsman can do many things, and it can play a huge role in many situations. If it weren't for Hawkeye's reputation as the world's #1 swordsman, how could Marine and the World Government 720 easily make him a Shichibukai? Although this Shichibukai's right doesn't mean much to Hawkeye, it is something that many people are chasing across the sea. A flash of fanaticism flashed in Momoseki's eyes, and he slowly said, "My lord has won, and from this moment on, my lord is the real #1 swordsman in the world." Even Hawkeye was directly defeated in the hands of the adults. I am afraid that other people dare not have any objections. Edward Wabel held the naginata in his hand, and the desire to fight deep in his heart was also very strong. The same is true of everyone around. After witnessing such a cruel and motivating battle, they also very much want to rush directly into it to fight. Luo Qiye looked at the eagle eyes ahead with a dark and indifferent look. Half truth, half falsehood, half world, one drunk, one sober, one floating life. Hawkeye, although you lost to me, you won, today's me. Advertisement. Continue to become stronger. Looking forward to the future, we can have the opportunity to fight again. Having said that, Luo Qiye is very clear. After this stop, Hawkeye no longer has any qualifications to continue to be his opponent. Even in the future, Hawkeye may only be able to follow her footsteps forever. Hawkeye nodded heavily, because the frenzied desire deep in his heart began to grow crazily. That day will come. At this moment, Hawkeye has completely regarded Luo Qiye as the goal of his lifelong pursuit. You must know that before this, Hawkeye personally instructed Luo Qiye to practice swordsmanship. But today, he was directly defeated by Luo Qiye. How could it be possible for Hawkeye not to have any emotional turmoil in the depths of his heart? Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you succeeded in pretending to be aggressive, and got 33,333 pretending points. Close black lens bracket. After Hawkeye said goodbye, he turned around and left with Hidoye without any hesitation. The coffin board boat slowly floated into the distance. Hawkeye's back was still so firm, and his spirit was truly reshaped in this battle. How many people could still survive after Luo Qiye shot with all his strength? Although Hawkeye survived because of Luo Qiye's release, there is no doubt that Hawkeye's strength has also been recognized by Luo Qiye. Otherwise, Luo Qiye might have survived the battle with a parallel importer. Therefore, Hawkeye was able to survive because of his previous guidance to Luo Qiye, and because he himself was also extremely good, and did not tarnish his reputation as the world's #1 swordsman. At this time, the surrounding Marines were in an uproar. Sadie. A look of panic appeared on the faces of many Marines. What should we do? Even Hawkeye, the world's #1 swordsman, has been completely defeated. Is there anyone else who can defeat this devil in front of him? Lord Garp and Hawkeye have both failed. Among our ranks, the two strongest people have already failed. What should we do? Advertisement. This guy is so strong, this guy is like a monster. Who else will defeat this monster? Let this monster disappear completely. Garp on the deck stared quietly at Luo Qiye ahead, with an extremely complicated expression. But while waiting, Garp didn't see Luo Qiye paying any attention to their marine at all. Garp is very clear that their group of elite marines must not be easily damaged here. What's more, the person who gave him orders is Sengoku, and there is no need to care about these cumbersome things between the two. From Luo Qiye's point of view, this group of marines is a group of ants that should not be ignored at all. And Luo Qiye was even more indifferent to the fate of this group of marines. This was also the real reason why Luo Qiye let Hawkeye go. Fujitora on the side shook his head helplessly, and said, this group is the absolute elite among the marines. It is not easy to kill them easily. Edward Wabel muttered. It's really cheap, these wastes are marine, I think I can completely keep them here by myself. Garp was taken aback for a moment, then let out a breath slowly. This is a horrible guy and we should have left too. What's more, he got Sengoku's order this time, to come and test Luo Qiye instead of killing him. The trial process is over, and also witnessed the decisive battle between Luo Qiye and Hawkeye. Without Luo Qiye's orders, the Hepping Fan team did not take any action at all, and just watched many Marines leave. During a battle, Luo Qiye could clearly feel that his swordsmanship had advanced further. When elite Marines have mastered the corresponding Marine 6 styles, they can also display impressive combat effectiveness in battle. Following Garp's order, many Marine warships turned their bows and left the scene directly. The most important thing is, even if all the Marines present are desperate for their lives, it is impossible to do nothing to Luo Qiye in front of them. In today's battle, Luo Qiye's greatest achievement was the battle with Hawkeye. With such a harvest, it is enough for Garp to explain to the Marine executives. Advertisement. 209. Shake Naval Headquarters. Big prison riot. The first update asks for a full order. Advertisement. Looking at Edward Wabel and others who were still a little sullen, Luo Qiye said calmly, it's just some ants, not worth our pursuit. In my opinion, among Marines team just now, only Garp has some value. But this time Garp let me down too much. Luo Qiye shook his head slightly. And the few people on the side looked at each other, and they all saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. From their point of view, during the battle just now, he would have shown great strength, but they didn't expect that he was still not taken seriously by Luo Qiye. Judging from the battle situation, every time Garp couldn't hold on to a few moves in front of Luo Qiye, what Luo Qiye said was completely true. On the other side, the naval headquarters base. Sengoku learned of the latest battle situation at the first time, and a look of astonishment flashed across his face soon. In Sengoku's mind, Luo Qiye's previous battle at Impel Down sounded, and then he shook his head slightly. This guy is really strong, but I didn't expect him to let Garp go with many Marines in the end. It seems that the little guy doesn't reject Marine that much. That way, our plans can continue to run smoothly. Even so, Crane Vice Admiral on the side said directly, that being said, we still have to think about this uncertain event in advance. If this guy gets involved in a big event, I'm afraid there will be some new unexpected situations at that time. Hearing this, Sengoku shook his head slightly, and said directly, Luo Qiye's strength is too strong, we can't allocate more power to deal with him, unless we are willing to directly change the direction of the whole big event plan. But this is obviously impossible, so the matter of dealing with Luo Qiye was completely put down. Everyone at Naval Headquarters is planning for the upcoming big event. On the other side, within the deep sea prison, the sand crocodile is entwined with strands of sand, and the golden hook worn on the left finger is shining brightly with poison, constantly moving to the right. Buzz. Advertisement. The sand crocodile is constantly moving forward, reaching the sand, and constantly rotating around her body. A large number of Marines are directly dried to death under the action of the sand, turning into mummies. The Ladyboy King Ivankov led his many Ladyboy brothers, and also started to move quickly in the impel down. Little ones, get out of here immediately, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That idiot Magellan is so badly wounded that he can't stop us anymore. Many people were about to start shouting crazily. Under the gathering of a personal demon, a torrent directly formed and began to hit the gate. Bask Chote held a huge wine barrel in his hand, but his fat body moved very fast on the road. Get out of the way for my uncle, how can your thin body stop me from moving forward? Boom. Basker Chote swung his right fist suddenly, carrying an air shock bomb with a strong alcohol smell, and directly bombarded the front. Boom. A huge roar sounded, and a thick wall in front of it shattered instantly. Basker Chote's plump body went straight through the hole. Ha ha ha, my uncle will be completely out of trouble today. From now on, no matter what kind of fine wine I need, I can get it myself. There was a bright light in Basker Chote's eyes. If he could be active in the entire sea with a free identity, how could he be willing to stay in the dark impel down forever? Even if it is to drink good wine from time to time, Bask Chote is willing to fight for it. At this time, the Blackbeard pirates and others also shuttled quickly, looking for their targets one by one. And there are already several familiar figures following behind them. The members of the Straw Hat Pirates also shuttled quickly among them, and in front of them was the troop of monsters. At this moment, Luffy couldn't help but started laughing. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect such a guy to exist. It looks really interesting. Advertisement. A look of helplessness flashed across Sanji's face on the side, and he said, Luffy, don't stare at them, so as not to cause complications. Asking for flowers. Don't forget the purpose of our coming here today. Usopp also nodded heavily, looked around cautiously and said, Luffy, I think we may change our direction. Gathering with so many people will definitely attract the attention of many Marines in the prison. In fact, many Marines in the entire Impel Down have all begun to mobilize. But because Magellan didn't come forward, the battle on the scene couldn't be controlled by Marine at all. In the ward, Magellan, who was seriously injured, yelled frantically into a phone. No support. Are you kidding me? At this time, you still haven't sent support forces over, don't you want to watch all the prisoners in the entire advancement run away? I'd like to see if you can take on this huge responsibility. Boom. Magellan hung up the phone in his hand heavily, with an angry look on his face. Damn it, this group of idiots, what are they doing? It's already at this time, why don't you send support forces over? Although Magellan is a high-level member, but because he stays in Impel Down all the year round, he has limited knowledge about the upcoming big event plan. Although he knew that everyone was going to do something about the execution of Ace, he didn't know how much energy, manpower and material resources Marine had put into this matter. At this time, Marine really didn't have enough manpower to support the deep-sea prison. But Magellan thinks that Marine is just shoving for no reason. Even so, Magellan could only drag his heavy body, and started pouring into the toilet frantically. His fruit ability determines that as long as he crazily expels the toxins in his body, his injuries will continue to improve. From this point, it can already be seen that the strength of this guy Magellan can be seen. The ability to resist and recover from injuries is strong, which is one of the reasons why Magellan can be called the Warden. This was also the reason why this guy could survive many battles. Advertisement.